this arm is so unwieldy. Okay. I'm getting everybody together now.
All right. We do record these meetings before you say anything like super racist or, Yeah. Those get posted, so.
That's why I'm hiding my wine in a mug. And future employers may see this.
That's smart. Very smart.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Susan.
Guilds and groups. Okay.
You're even wearing a red shirt as the intern.
Oh. Didn't even think about that.
How fitting.
Yeah, my dorm gives these out because there's a special international program, so we pay extra money and then they give us free shit. So
I don't think that's free then.
Yeah, actually,
but it was not free. It's complimentary breakfast at hotels.
Right.
It's not actually complimentary.
Val.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Val. I'm Ashley. I don't think we ever met.
No, we haven't met. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
Did your semester just wrap up as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been off for, I guess, a week now.
Oh. Damn.
Yeah,
How'd
we
you
end
get
pretty
off?
early.
Nice.
Do you
Go
go
Gators.
back super early then?
I think our first day back is January 6th.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. My first day back's the 13th or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Pippin.
Pippin is so cute.
I love him.
He's learned a new trick,
Yeah,
and that is
he
to
did.
jump off the bed. So now that's life.
And he has
what did
no self-preservation instincts
Oh,
at
no.
all. So his favorite thing to do right now is chase the cat. And the cat has very sharp claws and he has very big eyes, so that's worrisome.
About 30% of my day is worrying that I'm going to kill him by
That
just
too.
wheeling back in my chair to go grab a book or something, and just or taking a walk and he'll just dart in between my legs.
That's his other favorite thing to do is get directly under Jason's feet.
Cookie,
My cats
come
do
here.
that.
Come here.
He knew what I was trying to do.
For everyone watching this out there, this is Ashley. You may have met her at DragonCon. I'm not sure. She's going to be interning with us in the new year, and we thought it might be nice to completely overwhelm her by having her be at one of these book meetings and watch the stress take us over in real time. We actually got a lot done so far this month. I know I'm a complete hypocrite because I was just looking at the everything else list and everything that has to be done. I'm like, oh god.
I want to make it clear he was just looking at it now, and then also 45 minutes ago, and then also an hour before that he was just looking and sighing and being a drama queen.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
But not
That's
doing
exciting.
anything about it, just looking at it.
I mean, I'm working on stuff.
That's like being sad and listening to sad music. It's only gonna make you worse.
I keep telling him, I'm just stop looking until we've done some stuff. Give it a week.
That's like
it'll
saying
look better.
the house is on fire. Just don't pay it any attention. That's what it wants.
That's
It's
not at all like
it's
that.
exactly
No.
like
It's
that.
really
No.
not. It's like if we were building a house and every once in a while you just went to go look at all the wood that hasn't been cut yet, and I'm like, hey, wait until we cut the wood before you get sad.
That's not my style.
And then you set the wood on fire. Back to the fire analogy.
That's more my style. Let's speed this up.
Okay, cool. He's laying down, so I don't have to worry.
So Jasper's probably going to be late, but I'll send him a howdy anyway.
Yep.
And
Give
Jameson's not quite
you
here
did give
yet.
Jameson a howdy. Good.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm so excited.
Dude,
I am too.
in all seriousness, we've done just a metric crap ton, and I'm really excited to talk about it. First of all, it's super good to have you back, Val.
Thanks.
My goal is to work on at least one file every day. Like, as long as I meet that minimum, I will be happy.
Okay.
And so far, I've done a really good job at doing that, so I'm hoping to keep doing that. I might take a break, like, on Christmas, but...
That's fair.
Not allowed.
That seems wholly unreasonable, but okay.
Jason said we still have to have a meeting on Christmas.
I was joking. I was hoping that came across. Like...
Well, I'm gonna be there anyways. I'm running a party at my house, but I'm gonna be here.
Yeah. 1 second, guys. I have to go work.
Yeah.
We can have another Mother's Day debacle where I go sit outside for the whole dinner, and then I come back and I drink an entire bottle of wine. And then
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Remember that?
I do. I don't even remember what we were talking about.
I don't know if we should say it.
Oh, right.
Other people are gonna-
Oh, yes. Gotcha. I'm with you.
Guys, I got splotches all over my glasses, and I'm changing the subject.
What?
Damn it.
Mine too. Thanks for pointing it out. Now I can't not see it.
Wow, I'm the only person wearing contacts on this whole call. I feel special.
And I believe you will continue to be that way, because Jameson and Jasper both also wear glasses.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm only wearing mine because I didn't want to put on eye makeup. I saw
That's
you
fair.
about to ask me why I was wearing them.
No, actually.
Okay.
No.
I thought you were. Because you were like, why are you? And then
I've
you
given up
throw
on
that
that.
off.
Like, let your eyes rot. I mean, you're not gonna, like, treat them well.
Look, guys, the optometrist told me not to wear my glasses too often.
That's
what
fucking
she
That's a
said.
lie.
That,
That's
right?
what she said.
Thank you!
I'm just doing what the lady told me
She's
to.
a fucking idiot. Because
Yeah, what the fuck?
Bree went there with me and Elle. We all got
Yep.
our eyes checked the same day. Bree's eyes are just as terrible as me and Elle. But for some reason,
I think that's a scratch.
and I'm not exactly sure she said that, because I wasn't in there, but apparently she told Bree, it's like, oh yeah, you're really nearsighted. Don't wear these glasses too often because
Well, what she
Question
was
mark?
trying to say, is only wear glasses if you need to see something past your arm's length. If you're reading up close, don't wear your glasses because you might mess up your near vision. That's what she was
That's
telling
not
me.
true.
that's not
Well,
true.
that's
Now,
what she
the
told
only
me.
That's not
thing-
true.
Are
The
you
only
saying that the
thing
Walmart
is-
optometrist was the one who
Yes.
called him my dad and
Oh my
asked
god,
me how
I
school
love
is?
that.
Still hurts.
They're like,
It
are
hurt at
those your
Chipotle
parents?
too.
When do you
The
graduate?
only thing,
It's like,
the only thing
okay.
about glasses and wearing them for a long time is if you don't wear them. Well, I guess when you first start wearing them, they could bother you because you're getting used to
Yeah, you'll
the
get
glasses.
little headaches and stuff.
Or if you don't need to wear them much, it might be better to wear them less often just because that way you don't get used to being able to see and it's so jarring when you take them off.
well, maybe
Like, that's the
what
thing
she
of not
meant.
wearing them too long. It's because you get used to being able to see, and then when you take them off, you're like, oh, my vision's so much worse, when it's actually the same, but you're just not used to that anymore.
Yeah,
All true.
and I've noticed that. I've noticed the leaves disappearing into blurs.
The point is, wear your glasses.
Nah.
It's it's
Especially
complete
not now,
vanity.
because there is a scratch on them.
Well, we're gonna go get new glasses, and this time
Oh.
we're gonna go to Walmart. But we're gonna go, and I'm gonna have a talk with this optometrist if they say that again.
Thank you, Daddy.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Oh.
Don't do that.
Well,
All right, bye guys.
that was a good meeting. Bye, everybody. I'm done, and I'm leaving this house, and I'm just gonna walk in a direction and not stop.
Into the ocean.
I'll hit a coast eventually. How you doing,
One way
Jameson?
quicker than the rest, but yeah.
Doing okay. Doing okay. Are we ready? We're not waiting on Jasper, right? He's gonna join us later.
No. I don't know
Yeah,
when he's showing
we'll
up,
get
but
started.
we got too much.
No.
Jameson, Ashley, Jameson.
Hello.
Hello. I'm gonna
Odin.
be playing in the Mutants game with you, so
Well, that's gonna
Very
be.
excited
I'm,
for that.
I'm very excited for that game.
Odin, Ashley, Odin.
Yeah, my
Aww.
Lindsay took the kids out to dinner so they wouldn't be here right now, and Odin hates that they're not here because he knows that when I get home from work, they're supposed to be here. So he's just gonna bark at every noise at the door instead.
Fair. Jasper just told me he's putting the kids down now. I'm assuming to sleep, not killing them. And then
Just out the window.
just
One of them hurt their ankle, so.
yeah, it's time to the glue factory with the twins. That's
I don't think that's how glue is made. I'm just throwing that out there.
it's not made out of twins.
I got 3 sets of twins in my family. We don't have that much glue.
It's my favorite threat for my son. If he's being a pain in the ass, I will throw you out a window, and he stops whatever he's doing. It's great.
God.
I mean, that's a good threat.
Well, I probably wouldn't ever do it.
Probably.
You know what? I like the wiggle room. You don't want to just like call it. You want to give yourself options.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know future me or future him.
Fair. He might be really annoying, and then like, what are you gonna do?
What if it's a really small window and I can just do it for comedic effect, like it's low to the ground?
Yeah.
Just shove them. So I've only gotten in one piece of art since I posted stuff this morning, but I want to share it because it's cool. Get a shareable link into the art channel of the Discord. There it is.
Ooh. Oh, that looks good.
It's Elisa.
It's Lisa.
That is Elisa. I
Um,
like that
I s-
headband.
She
sent
asked
it
for a
to
headband.
Lisa. Yeah. I haven't gotten a response yet, but I sent it, so
It's a sense
that's the only thing I've gotten in since this morning.
Oh, Jameson, I meant to tell you. I happened to see, because I was just like looking through all of the art folders, and I saw the new version of me,
Right, yeah.
and oh my god, it's so much better. Like even if
Okay,
though
good.
it's a little change, like I'm like 500% more in love with it.
Okay, perfect. Good. Yeah, I meant to send it to you, but I forget what I was doing when I got it. I was like, oh, quick, good, there it is. And then I just never got back to it. Sorry about that. But you found it, so that's good.
What was a little change?
The hair is like more out of my face,
Oh.
and then it's like straighter on the top.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cute.
All right, so let's get right into the art because we're up to date on reviewing everything right now. It's just a matter of kind of like state of the nation as far as that goes. We are 66% finished. We are now officially 2/3 finished with all the art. Of the stuff that remains, we have roughly 35 pieces currently in progress right now for another 14.5%. Which in total is over 80% done. Of the pieces that remain, there are only, haven't started at all. There's the alternate cover, a couple of things that are more graphic design, like calendars and timelines, things like that. There are only 10 characters left. There are only 2 monsters left. There are 12 symbols left. We have the recipes, and then module art, and that's it.
Oh, you were counting module art. That's fucking awesome. Okay.
That's counting module art.
Ah, that's
Fuck yeah.
great.
Adding the module art 2 weeks ago really brought our numbers down.
Yeah, but it's
Right.
honest. It's
yeah,
honest.
It's honest.
Yeah, but it's bringing it back up now. So.
It's honest work.
For monsters, is that new beast that we're adding, is that
Splitter.
getting art?
I don't know. I'm gonna look over everything. I need to talk about that with everybody because I added some monsters and I didn't flag a lot of them for art, but I think it might be nice with the money that we saved to look over it one more time just to see if there's anything we want to change before we get everything done.
Yeah, I would like to. I mean, I know today is going to be a big thing, but if we can't do it today, I would like to finalize very soon the 100% final, not getting changed again. This is the list of art we're getting done.
Yeah.
I think we're starting to get a really clear picture of what we've managed to save versus what was originally budgeted. Right now, we're sitting at around $2,400.
Wow.
We don't need to spend all of it, but we can spend some of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's not.
Let's not spend all of it.
I mean,
shipping.
I would love to spend another $2,400 on art personally.
We still got another book to make.
Well, that's including the budget for that.
That's
though.
true.
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah. But I mean, printing it. We
Oh,
still
yeah,
gotta-
yeah.
And speaking of module art, we are adding a bunch of people to a separate module Discord now. And I'm going to start, because if anyone's noticed, a lot of what's left is mostly Jason writing, and I only have a few things left that I can feasibly write without his help. So, because it's all, like, in his head. So I'm going to take over the module stuff instead, and the first thing I'm going to try to do is pull art out of them.
Okay.
I know there's some people who are still not 100% sure what they want, but as soon as I get any descriptions, I'll send them over to you and let you know what they want.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, please. Yeah, because I'd like to. It's a tough time of year right now with artists. A lot of people have slowed way down. We've had a few people with tech issues and a few people with scheduling issues. I know that Laura told me she's out of commission until after the 1st. Kiyoshuki has tech issues going on right now, and we're waiting on them for 2 pieces currently. A couple other things like that. Some people have just slowed down in general.
Right.
But if we have module stuff ready to go, then when we run out of the main book stuff, we can hopefully just roll directly into that.
Right.
I might have to say goodbye to Sebastian. I haven't heard from Sebastian in a month. Or when I have heard back, it's been, yeah, I'll send you something tomorrow, and then 2 weeks go by.
Is he
So, no, that's Andrew, and we did get a nearly done draft from Andrew last week.
Right, I remember that now. That was cool.
So
it looked good.
he's taking a sweet time, but this is his last piece, so whatever. It's also the last landscape, which is nice.
Adam's pretty much doing the same thing, where like each subsequent set is getting longer and longer and longer. And I know it's a holidays, and it's, but it's this will probably be his last set at this rate.
Okay, that's fine, because let's see, we still have active right now 16 artists. Well, call it 14, because Laura is gone for now. Brandon is on standby until we have food stuff ready, which I'd really like to nail down.
You got to get going.
No,
in the
let
next
me
week,
write
too.
that down for when Jasper gets here, because I bet
Yep.
all he needs to do is think about it for a few minutes. So maybe we could get that finalized while he's in the call.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're waiting for Jasper to have free time to sit and think about it, he's probably not gonna.
Yeah, exactly. So let's all pressure him. And
Yeah,
doing it
really
now.
think about it right now while we're
for it.
watching,
Yeah.
and then we all get really
If
close.
we could all yell at him,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Oh. Okay.
Sing a
Is
Jeopardy song.
Skull is like Skull Splitter and Blackout, are they gonna be in there, or is Jasper stuff like more like his own recipes and drinks and stuff?
Well, this will be recipes. I can't tell people how to make alcohol.
We just
Okay.
make
Good,
vodka
but-
and various things
Yeah.
until we're drunk.
Right. Also, I've described those alcohols as like turpentine, and I'd rather not have people drink.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, that's true,
okay.
actually. I mean,
I
you can
worry-
always do the Harry Potter thing of like, oh, you use your imagination.
Yeah.
But-
I worried a lot about putting mixed drinks in the pub crawl book because of liability.
Yeah.
It's like,
These are
do this if you're-
alcoholic beverages literally designed to make you black out. I don't want to.
It's called blackout, yeah.
Yeah. Nope. Let's. I mean, I wouldn't mind there being like a write-up for those things, but let's
Yeah.
not include how to. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I was asking more about a write-up
Oh, okay.
That's
yeah.
okay.
for
As far
cross-reference
as
purposes.
yeah, as far as the only thing we need, Jasper, for as far as the food goes, is we were going to actually include 4 recipes that we're going to also include art for them.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's stuff like the sympathy rolls, the friders. I think we were talking about having bean leavings be the 3rd one, but we're still missing one. It's up to Jasper, really, but we have enough food items to choose from, I think, at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
We just need to nail it down, get descriptions to Brandon, and then get write-ups. Where was I was thinking of something. Oh, so Adam slowed way down. This might be his last batch. Andrew slowed way down. He's on his last piece. Carlos has always been... He takes his time, but he puts out some of the best work, so I'm fine with that. He's currently working on Umash, Rob, and Jamie.
Okay.
Arthur has a batch of like 17 characters right now.
Yeah.
So he's got plenty of work. DeepMind just sent us Lisa. That's the only thing he's working on right now. I'm going to give him the double piece of Dagon next, because I want to get that done.
And we're getting the old and young one done?
Yeah, because I want to make sure that is what we need it to be, because we have a little bit of special consideration for that.
Yeah.
Knowing him, I don't know if he's going to slow down at all. He's slowed down a little bit over the last couple of weeks, but not too much. He kind of comes in waves. Like, he'll do a ton really fast and then slow way down. I think he's taking on other work in between us, which is fine. But if he can do the double Dagon piece quickly enough, there'll probably be a couple more other stuff left for him. Plus, I'm sure he's available for module stuff. Xavier's working on James. Silky is currently working on Miguel. Miguel? How do you pronounce that?
Miguel.
Miguel. Silky's one of the few who flat out said, I'm not interested as far as the cast as NPCs set went. So that's fine. This might be Silky's last piece, actually. I might have... Actually, if Adam's not going to do Theo and Trent, I might give those to Silky.
What does Silky do again?
Silky does the line art that we give to Arthur. Right now, Silky just did Ubo and Kava.
Okay.
That's what they're working on now. Now they're working on Miguel. Carlos, we just finished or are finishing up with the Wilden and the Gnome, and Carlos will be available. He's one of our landscape guys, so he'll be available for module stuff, assuming there's things like that.
There will be.
Rodolfo is hungry for work.
Okay.
Rodolfo's the one who just did the Razorfly, the Carmeline, the Kalki, Jasper.
And they're fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, they all came out really well, and he moves fast, and he's asking for stuff in like batches, and he's actually carrying through on it, and he asked for a whole nother batch. So that's what I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him the Slisk and the Slisk Mother.
Oh, good. Good.
If I have to take the Diracha away from Sebastian, I'm going to give that to Rodolfo.
Oh, yeah, that was started. I forgot.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
8 weeks ago?
I remember October.
We never even saw a sketch for that, I realized. Because he would reply to my emails once in a while and be like, yeah, I'm still working on it, but I've never even seen a sketch.
Yeah, I think you asked me, like, clarification questions about it.
Did I? I might have.
I remember maybe answering some.
It was so long ago, but I'm at a point where I'm going to be like, dude, I got to see something or else I'm going to have to reassign this piece. But it kind of occurred to me just the other day. I was like, we've never seen anything for this since I sent it. Aaron, the one who did Naza and Freda Ironjaw, is working on Zach right now.
Oh, that's... Zach... Yeah, Jesus, Zach's gonna look huggable as hell. That's awesome.
Yeah, huggable. Kiyoshuki, like I said, is out of commission right now, but is working on Karen and Kelsey. Brandon just sent a Takered Stone Sunder, which you guys saw earlier today.
Yep.
And I'm still talking to my buddy Jerome about the alternate cover. That's everybody who's working right now.
Okay.
Everybody's got stuff to do. I have a pretty good idea of what's left to give to them before we wrap things up, depending on module stuff. But that's where we're at right now.
How? I'm trying to think.
Was Stone Sunder gray enough for you this time?
It was great. It took us a while to get there, but like, because it's like grayer, and it's like, well, I made this hair gray. It's like grayer. Like just
he's fucking old.
He's old. It's just.
That's part of what makes his racism charming instead of offensive.
Yes.
Like, he gotta be gray.
He's your old uncle. He couldn't get away with that in his 30s. Oh, what was I gonna say? So okay, we're 66% done.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It is December 18th.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to bring in more artists to get this done?
Honestly,
should we do another round of looking for folk?
I really don't think so, and here's why. We're 66% done, but including the stuff that's in progress currently with artists, we're 80% done.
Okay.
And of the stuff that remains, 12 of those items are modules that we don't know what to do with yet. And the other next biggest piece are characters, which are already assigned out. They're just waiting for the next batch to be ready.
Right.
And it takes as long to get a new artist up and ready to start working as it does to get a batch in from a current artist.
That's fair.
That's 10 pieces.
If Rodolfo's that hungry,
I plan on giving Rodolfo the rest of the monsters and probably I had earmarked Michael's portrait and what was the other one? Hang on, let me get back to it. Michael and Mandy, both for Rodolfo.
Okay.
So that's another batch of 5 right there. He knocked out the previous batch in about a week and change. So
nice.
that's pretty good.
Honestly, I was shocked at the razor flies. I thought that was going to be a difficult one to.
Those looked fucking awesome.
Yeah, God knows I struggled with the razor flies.
It's hard to draw a swarm of things, you know what I mean? Like, and get detail on one of them.
It's hard to make an insect look scary.
Also. So I personally don't think that we need to bring in more artists. The 3 biggest chunks that we have remaining are module stuff, which we will absolutely have the people available for by the time we're ready. Symbols and characters. And symbols and characters, we already know who's doing it. It's just getting to do them.
Right.
So.
Okay.
And those 3 pieces together make up for 34 pieces of art.
Damn.
So.
Nice.
I think we're actually in pretty good shape. I think the numbers don't reflect how good a shape we're in right now, personally.
Right. And again, that's going to change week to week. Like I'm sure we're going to get a batch of stuff from certain people. Yeah. Because that's just kind of how they work, especially after Christmas. I know Christmas is the great excuse. Like that's like everyone slows down, but I imagine by the first week of January we're going to get a lot of stuff hitting our desk. Yeah. Hopefully.
I imagine so. And when we open up the module stuff, I actually have plans to hit back up some of the people that we've since stopped working with, like Lacey.
Yeah.
Part of me feels like Lacey pieced out just because they didn't have any interest in doing stuff that wasn't landscapes. So if landscapes show up again, then I might be like, hey,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here you go.
There might be a map or two in this. I have a feeling Andy's going to want to do a map of the underworld because his is focused on Drow, and I might hit up Greg for that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Budget?
Huh?
Would that be in budget?
He wanted to pay for it.
Oh, right, I forgot. Okay, that's fine.
He wanted to pay toward it, not for
it. That's
fine.
Yeah. Greg was the cheapest, but seemed to take a little bit of time. Robert was pretty quick, but a little bit less cheap, and then obviously Daniel is Daniel. So
Daniel takes a long time and is also not cheap, but fuck.
But he's kind of our quality benchmark. That's the thing. Yeah.
He's the fucking Michael Jordan of maps. Like it's really tough to like.
But yeah, Crowbar might come back in the picture at some point. Ashley Kem is available again.
What Ashley do?
The 10 items, the set of 10 items.
Oh, that's right.
That Ashley.
Yeah,
that Ashley.
So many
married
artists.
Ashley.
Yes.
Yeah, newly married Ashley.
Yes.
Bree, I just thought of this. Would it be helpful to you to get the help of somebody like Ashley on icons?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. I just thought of that, but I think that Ashley would actually be an excellent choice for that. So I'm going to make a note to
I know
reach
we
out.
have all the demons left, and I didn't want to like poke you about that, but the demons need symbols.
Yeah.
And the groups, the guilds and groups, need symbols.
You know what? I think it's time for some whiteboard drawing.
Ooh.
I want pictures.
Stop it.
What if you used MS Paint though?
So real quick, I have been getting, as we've been finishing up with some artists, I have been getting more questions about the possibility or likelihood of comp copies. I know we talked about that before.
Yeah.
And we kind of set it down for a little while, but I don't know if you guys have been able to put any thought into that.
I'm sorry, what did you just say? I zoned out while I was writing my
comp
notes.
copies.
Comp copies for artists.
Yes, okay, yeah.
Okay. Let's do this math again. There are how many artists?
That we got work from to do to send a copy to.
Yeah. It's in the 30s, right?
And we talked about having a minimum, like if they did like 5 or more, not just like one piece.
Let's see.
Like, we
Would
don't
it be
have to-
worthwhile to send like a PDF to the artists who have only done 1 or 2 pieces and
Oh,
then send a
yeah.
hardcover copy to some of the artists who contributed more? That way
yeah.
they still feel like they get the copy itself, but we don't have the cost of printing out as many.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, for sure. Like, I'm
Your
fine with doing the
Daniels,
PDFs.
your Lacey did a ton. Rodolfo's doing a bunch. Like I feel like those, like it's like shipping a book out to those people is great. A lot of our artists
Yeah,
are,
they earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of our artists are overseas, and that's going to be costly.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing,
Shipping,
what
yeah.
I remember us kind of talking about last time, which I personally think is the best option,
Yeah.
It's having them
to
pay
answer your
for
question, is 27 artists who have done significant or enough work
shipping. Okay.
that I would feel bad not sending them at least a PDF. But
Okay.
27, I personally, and again, this is that's 27 copies of a book. I think that if they were willing to pay for the shipping, I think it would be a nice gesture to offer them a comp copy. One comp copy, and if they want to pay for more, sure. And it's on them if they want to ship it to Venezuela or England or wherever they're living. But that would be my vote. Would be if you guys want to spring for shipping, we'll send you a copy. But ultimately, that comes up to you guys.
So, with the extra 27 copies, that means that out of the 700 regular copies that we're buying, because obviously this wouldn't be special edition, 395 would be called for, either already purchased or going to the artist, which means we would only have 305 books left over to sell on Amazon or at Dragon Con or, at local bookshops or whatever. That's still quite a lot. And we can always order more in the future, but that would cost money.
And that's estimating that every artist wants to pay for shipping or wants a comp copy.
Right.
That's true.
So it
too.
could
True.
be.
So it could be
So it
higher
could be
than that.
more.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a good way. What I would like to do, if we're able to make any offer, is ideally for me, I would like to be able to write to them and be like, "Hey, we are absolutely going to send you a PDF of this book when it's finished,
Right.
so you can use this as a portfolio piece. If you would like a physical copy, if you are willing to pay for shipping, then we can send you one." That would be the way I would like to go. But again, obviously, there's a consideration there.
Right. All right.
Thoughts?
I have a few. Printing is a massive expense. We're into the tens of thousands of dollars for printing. We put a down payment of $20,000 so far.
Mm-hmm.
That does not include the second book. That
We
just
haven't even started
includes
paying for that.
right. That just includes the 1,000 copies we're getting. What was it? 400 of the special editions? Not even.
So 300. 1 second. I just had it open.
I'm so
the
sorry.
worst. Setting book budget. Boop, bloop, bloop, ba-doop, ba-doop. Orders. So, of the special edition, we have sold 294, and we are purchasing 300. Of the regular edition, we have sold 368, and we're ordering 700
Okay.
to make an even 1,000 that we are buying, because that's the way they do it. You don't order two separate things. It's the big shipment, and
Yeah, you split it.
you split it between those two things.
All right. Obviously, we have to be mindful of the fact that whatever we have left over has to be enough to get us to another print if we wanted to do that. If we sell the rest of the books and we don't have enough to order another print, we're stuck. We have a book that people want, and we can't print enough to give that to them. Now,
We could also do pre-orders if that becomes a thing where something happens and we now have like a new large influx. It's like, well, we don't have any printed right now,
right.
but
Yeah.
what we can do, or like, because that doesn't really work, because I'm sure there's like a minimum that you have to print, or be like, if we get X pre-orders,
Yeah.
then we can
And it
get
is
it and
worth
do another
noting,
shipment.
this first time we're ordering 1,000. The next time we probably are not going to be ordering 1,000. It'll probably be half
Yeah.
that, if not less.
Right,
So-
right. Well, the thing I wanted to bring up is if that leaves us, let's say every artist wanted a comp copy and they're paying for shipping for us to get it to them. And let's say that's 27 books, something like that. So that leaves us with 305 copies. If we sold every single one of them at a retail price of 50,
Yep.
that gives us somewhere in the area of 15,000 something. So
And that's not counting taxes.
that's not
and-
counting taxes and all that. But let's say we do the table for Dragon Con, because we were talking about doing that, which I think is probably our best bet to sell a shit ton of books that day. Plus art prints, whatever else we were going to... Let's say we have extras of the module book. I don't know. Like, whatever we're going to be doing, I think between that and selling the rest of those books, we'll have plenty to order another run. That's my
So that was a very long way of saying, let's do the artist thing.
Well, yeah, but like I do want to be mindful of like giving away copies.
Yeah,
because...
and lay out why. I get that, yeah. Because that's how I am with the budget every time. It's like, yes, we can spend that money, but let me talk to you for 30 minutes about why we shouldn't do this too often.
Right. And
yeah,
I just wanted to think about it. I think you're right about paying for shipping because, geez, let's say 20 of these artists are outside of the States. Which they are. Let's say it's $20 to ship it to them. Do that quick math.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, I paid my art team exclusively in copies of the book for the pub crawl.
Right.
It's expensive. Like I sent books to Argentina, Brazil, Canada, the UK.
Yep.
I sent a box this big of 40 books to Canada, and it cost me almost $100.
Yep. Canada's a fucking bitch.
Yeah, Canada's the dumbest. Like that. Like it's so close, and yeah.
Canada and Australia.
I could have driven
it
there.
Expensive places to ship to.
So that's the thing.
Expensive to ship
because if all these guys want is a portfolio piece, a digital copy is sufficient. I think it is a nice gesture, and I understand the want for having a physical copy, but I think it's also a fair ask to be like, we'll do that, but shipping's a bitch, and you need to help.
Right.
I think that's a nice middle ground.
It's a big, heavy book.
Yeah, for sure.
It is a big book. Yeah.
It's a very big book.
Cool.
And a handwritten card.
Not in my handwriting, but someone's.
Handwritten thank you card.
That being said, I probably won't make an official email out to the art team about that yet, but I want to, if people ask, kind of be able to give them here's what we're thinking,
And thank you for giving us time to think about it, because it is one of those things that on the spot it's like, oh man, that's a lot of copies to give away. But
that's the thing, and I don't want to, as much as I might push for it, it's at the end of the day, it's a business decision that has to come down to you guys. Right. So, okay, cool. That I wanted to make sure to bring up because Daniel was the one who was asking most recently.
Daniel gets a copy.
Daniel, damn it. So.
Damn, Daniel.
Damn, Daniel.
Really, guys? Really? What year is it?
Bye, Felicia.
Jesus God.
Then I died.
So, do we want to talk about the State of the Union as far as writing goes now before I launch into a scheduling thing?
Actually, let's do Valerie first.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Well, because some of my things sort of relate to Jasper, and so I was hoping Jasper would be here.
Gotcha.
I could just go through the ones that don't have to do with him if we really want me to go now.
Or then let's do the writing first, and then hopefully by the end of that Jasper will be here.
Yeah, Jasper will join up, and we'll get to it, and okay. So
all right, writing. You.
I'm doing my best to get a first draft done of everything, just like I said in the last meeting. That if we look at, oh boy. I got through F through J of characters, and they all have stats. I have it over here. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Most of the augments are done. All that first pass is done. Scions, I'm getting ready to test those in the new month, like a big thing for that. So if there are updates to that, that'll probably be done in the first couple of weeks of January, somewhere in there. Bree did a shitload of tables, actually.
Susan, how'd you like my fucking tables, bitch?
Oh my god. Loved it, Bree.
It's good tables.
I did tables. The character creation chapter is 2/3 written, rough draft. The backgrounds is something we're going to work on later.
So we'll have Theria-specific backgrounds.
Yeah, for D&D. And I just finished my second draft of A Dying Breed. So that's done.
Second draft of She, or at least the first third of the second draft of She. Like, it's a big story, and we're going to play hot or colder with it for a while, I think. But, there's definitely another pass for you to take a look at. Stats are going to take me just a bit because there are 270 plus characters, and
But the cool thing is they skip right over Jameson and go straight to Valerie and Susan. So
yeah, that's
That's
true.
neat.
Actually,
we decided on that earlier today.
I'm clogging up the works.
So you'd be like, those are sure numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those look good to me.
I'm trying to get. I'm probably gonna have to go back and do a lot of PCs because I'm gonna have to hit up everybody in the cast because I did this early on, but 2 years have passed and now there are new characters and stuff. So I have to ask everybody, what's the height of this character? And they're gonna go, I don't fucking know. And then I'm gonna go, well, give me a number because it's got to go in the book.
Well, some
Yes.
of them we have already.
We do. I know.
Okay, just
there's
making
a
sure.
there's a stat block folder. I was using the old ugly word processor stat block thing, which is in the stat block folder for characters, and I've been using that a lot for characters we already have. But since then, we've added all the Strahd characters, everybody on board that ship. There's a lot, so I have to
Tempest is
re-hit up
7
people.
feet
DRP debuted, and there's a lot of people I have to hit up and just go, how tall's Brennan? I don't know. Because I don't. I know James probably doesn't care all that much, but I don't want to misrepresent. You know.
Can Tempest be 7 feet tall?
No, that's weird.
But it's not. He's weird.
It's super weird.
He's super weird.
No. I feel
Maybe
like.
including the horns.
Yeah.
Yeah, including the horns.
I feel like you're playing a wrestling game and you just took the slider and threw it all the way because that's where the slider's
Yeah,
end
exactly.
was.
He's all the way tall, but all the way skinny.
That's weird.
And then his smile's all the way big and like.
Oh, nope.
Like a high school basketball player.
Yeah.
Nope.
But like also
Nope.
sick.
Yeah, no.
Jesus. I think that's all I can think of right now. A lot of the introductory stuff is done, and I'm working my way down the list. Stats was the next big project, and I think I'll be able to get that done by next Wednesday. That should be in the rear view, and I'll be working on something else.
We got Brennan, by the way, for characters.
Yeah.
I kind of stretched that out.
Yeah, it was like a sentence and a half.
Sentence, and I was like, "Thank you, James," because I know he did his best. Like the characters had 2 episodes. Like,
Yeah,
it makes
no,
sense.
exactly.
So that's in there, which means that everything up until I believe T is where Travis and Thorol are, and we're still waiting on them. Travis, Clem, and Thorol. And Yenward. I think that's it as far as who we're waiting for.
Yeah, I'll re-hit up Tyler and Tom.
Did Jake kind of send us one?
Jake?
Yes, he did.
He's moved. No, he didn't.
Oh, he did.
He's moving.
Oh.
And I congratulate him on the move. He's like, I didn't forget about you. It's like, just worry about the move. You're fine. Like, just.
Worst comes to worst with the characters we can't get, would it be cool to write one up loose and send it to them for approval? Maybe that would take
I
some
think
of the
so,
pressure off.
yeah.
Honestly, Tyler's not going to complain about that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like just getting the from Tyler or
Yeah.
even from Tom might be okay. Just to be like, yep, that looks like something I'd write. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
I mean, if we can get them to write it, then great. That's a bonus. But if not, I think that we'll have to eventually go the other way.
Yeah, I only asked like a week ago. So.
Yeah, so I'm not too worried about it. Until we can't move further on that section without those pieces, then we'll have to make a decision. But
Dan's a lost cause.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wrote it. It's fine. I got it.
I'm not getting anything from Dan. Ever.
that's too bad.
It is, but we have enough. We know what we're doing. We
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
know.
I think I highlighted it and I was like, hey, if anything about this sounds wrong, it's probably because it's wrong. Correct me. Because I don't remember his backstory verbatim. And
But
then
I
I was
mean-
thinking we could always just send it to Steve, and Steve will double check for us. Because he
We've
knows.
Yeah,
Explored a
it's
lot.
probably good
Yeah.
Yeah.
research for that too.
We've definitely explored a lot of his character backstory on the show between
Yeah.
Rodswell and all that stuff. So
And
I think.
I remembered it correctly, but, you know,
I feel like
backstories
it
can
kind of
sometimes
changed
blend
over
together.
time too, though, didn't it?
Probably.
Probably.
I believe at the start of the campaign, he never even knew who his real father was. And then by
Yeah.
the end of the campaign, it was that he had a backstory with his father.
I don't hold that against it.
Yeah,
The first 6 episodes of our show, no one knew what they
No.
were doing, and they didn't know this was going to be a thing.
only
so-
one ran
Ironhide's
with the
children were
stuff.
toasters.
Yeah.
The only people who ran with the stuff that they established in the first 6 episodes
Right.
forever were Draconis having a drug problem and killing a guy and
Yeah.
going to jail for it.
I feel like I feel like episode 10 everyone went, "Wait, you've been recording this?" And then like they just started going,
Shit,
I'm
what
starting
did
to
I say?
care.
"Yeah, shit."
And Malchus being a middle child. Those are the two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are the two things
Yeah.
that carried over.
Yeah.
All right, so just to refresh my memory, when are we going to print?
Books have to be in people's hands in April.
Okay, when are we going to print though? When do you have
We
to
were
email the file
at
to
the
the printer?
very least, probably end of February, because
End of
it will
February.
take 2 weeks to get the books to us minimum. That's printing, and so it'll probably take like 3 weeks, and then we could start shipping it out, and that would be like, oh, technically the first batch of people to get it shipped got it in their hands by April.
Okay.
And hopefully all of them, depending on how quickly we can pack and ship everything.
Well, if we do that big pick pack ship party,
Yeah. Basically, March needs to be shipping month. March
Okay.
needs to be, we get the shipment from Print Ninja and we ship it to all the people. And we might, I'm still not sure. At the time, we were planning on ordering them and shipping the extra books to Amazon.
I don't think we're gonna have that many extra books.
That's the thing, is we're going to have 305 extra books, even if all of the artists, that's a lot of extra books. Like,
But if we're taking them to Dragon Con,
that's the thing, is do we want to still do the shipment to Amazon, or do we want to just have them in our house forever? Because that's the other thing, is that's in our house. Like,
just
we don't
put them in
have...
Susan's house.
My house is still full of fucking boxes of my books, so I can't.
Because
No,
here's the thing,
I'll
like...
take the posters are right there. Like, they're out of sight, but you can kind of see it right there.
That's the thing, is like, that might work better if we are getting... Basically, we need to figure out where we're shipping things, because Print Ninja will do multiple shipments for us at no extra cost. That will cost for the shipping, but, like, no...
Yeah, we kind of got to give them an address.
Yeah.
They're real sticklers.
Yeah.
Well,
It might be a little too early to think about this, but we could send them to each part of the country. Like, I could do southeast, you guys could do west coast.
Oh, we divided up like old wrestling territories.
Right.
And we'll just like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
And then
cool.
that would save on shipping too.
Ah,
That's true. It's
Rocky
really
Mountain
comes
Region.
down to if we're going to get
Yeah.
a booth at Dragon Con or not. Because I think if we get a booth at Dragon Con, we're gonna want all 300 books
yeah.
at
Well,
Susan's house. Sorry, Susan.
look,
It's okay, I have room.
yeah, but like, you still
No
gotta,
kids.
you gotta.
I got like a 3-bedroom house. There's only 2 of us. We live in the same room.
we're coming to live with you.
Yeah, but you got to get them to the con, so maybe we got to go. This is a problem for future us. This
Right.
is,
She's
Yeah.
driving.
I just got a new car.
yeah, but like,
Yeah, you're
300
gonna kill
books
the
is gonna
shocks in
be
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be
300
thousands
books.
of pounds.
Let's do that
So-
quick math. Hold on. If each book weighs 3.5 pounds times 300,
Wait. Let me backtrack. Ryan and I were talking about renting a car, so that's the rental cars problem.
there we go. Just get that insurance and
You
you're
have to
fine.
rent a
Nice.
van.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were gonna do because we wanted to swing to South Carolina to pick up Zach.
Aw.
Oh, so you're like gonna go up to South Carolina and then go
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
back down to Atlanta? Interesting.
Yeah, because South Carolina to Atlanta is only like a 5-hour drive. So.
Well, this is probably a whole different conversation.
It
but
is.
Yeah, this is
Really
way in the
is.
future.
I was actually thinking about driving down next year if I am able to go, but that's like a
Fancy.
different conversation.
I
So.
feel like you're right on the verge of a divorce. I want to make sure.
Oh my god, what?
I
Why
want
would
to make
you do
sure.
that?
No, look, I'm playfully on the edge of a divorce. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, a fun divorce.
I told Jason, I was like, yeah, he was too scared to even ask his wife about extended rest, and that's fine.
That one wasn't gonna fly.
No,
Anyway.
it's like
Um,
the amount of shit we've piled on for Christmas is like too much. Hey, you mind if we do
anyway.
character creation on the 23rd of December?
The wrapping presents night.
Yeah.
That'll be fun,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and by the way, that's for the other new group that I've joined.
Yeah, for that third game I joined, the one where you have to go sit in the bedroom with the door closed.
Where are you going?
You have to muffle our little baby, like the baby from MASH that they thought was a chicken. Like, that was a dark joke if anyone remembers MASH.
I don't.
No? Okay.
I never watched MASH. I don't think I've ever seen an episode.
It was on
it's
TV
so
Land.
good.
Isn't it like in black and white, or am I
No.
making that up?
I think some of it is.
It's like it's in that old
Sepia.
style of
70s
like
Technicolor.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really
Like it
good
looks
stuff.
like it was colored after the fact. It wasn't, but it looks like it.
Yeah, it looks like they put it on top of a gray tone.
All
Yeah.
right, so try to refocus us.
Oh, sorry.
So
Jameson's
my
divorce.
my only other point with the shipping books
Yeah.
is if we do the thing where we do Dragon Con, we ship the 300 books to Susan, they bring it to Dragon Con with them.
Yeah.
Amazons have warehouses literally fucking everywhere, so we can still ship it to an Amazon warehouse and have it shipped from there easy. Like
I
it wouldn't be
was
that
20 minutes
expensive.
from- And
Yeah.
20 minutes from my house.
Yeah, exactly. You can
And
probably just drive it there.
We obviously still got to get an ISBN for it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll have we could still scan it. It's still we're doing all that.
Yep.
Is that legal stuff that you need to have someone do? Like, because I don't know if that has to do with like information law or something.
It's
or...
like my understanding was it's like a central thing. It's like a $25 thing. It's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, I
crazy.
did it for my book. We can talk through how to do that. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh,
Sweet.
okay,
Easy.
perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, as far as like the Dragon Con booth goes, I feel like because how big was the turnout from the live show this year?
250?
Yeah.
I think
Close to
250.
300, wasn't it?
250?
You can't fit 300 in there, but
Okay.
No, yeah, that was a
At one point, there was almost 250 people there. Yeah.
okay. So maybe we could, because you said what 305 is left, Bree, or 350?
Yeah, 305.
305? Okay. Because I was
Plus-
just wondering how, like, because if we could put like 100 of them on Amazon and then bring like 200 at Dragon Con.
And that's
Because
another
I'm
thing
sure
to
there's some
consider.
listeners
Yeah.
who didn't get the pre-order,
Totally. And
so they would love to do Amazon if they can't come
I'm
to
also
Dragon
thinking
Con.
about that floor traffic, man.
The
Like,
floor traffic is the big
Yeah,
thing.
the floor
is
traffic.
people who will just buy a book because they see it, like the Robs
Right.
of Dragon Con
and the Jasons.
and the Jasons of Dragon Con.
Well, who says we can't do both? Can't we just
Yeah,
can't we
that's
just
what I
bring
was
them all to
thinking.
Dragon Con? And then any that are left over we put on Amazon, where it's like, so
Yeah.
it's like a Dragon Con exclusive, like you can only get it here for right now, but after that it's going on Amazon.
And I kind of like that only because there's nothing I hate more than backing a Kickstarter or doing a pre-order and then finding out I could have gotten it sooner if I had just waited and gotten it on Amazon first,
Right.
which we
Yeah.
wouldn't do anyway because Dragon Con isn't until September.
Or-
But like, yeah,
I think it's all in August this year.
August. Oh, cool.
Yeah. I
Oh,
think.
Really?
No, it's actually all
But, like,
September.
Is it all
Yeah.
September?
It starts like
Whoa.
September 7th this year. It doesn't
Wow.
start in August at all.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
neat.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah.
But my thing is, like, if we got the books and we shipped some of them to Amazon and some of them to us straight from Print Ninja, Amazon might put them up for sale before we can reasonably
Right.
ship them all from our house.
And obviously-
that would bother me.
Right. Obviously,
Yeah.
our sole focus is making sure everyone who bought a copy or backed a copy, whatever,
Yeah.
gets their copy ASAP. Like that's
Right.
why the February deadline, because we still got to get a test copy in the mail. That's coming from China. Then we got to go over that and make sure it all looks good. I mean, the PDF's
Right.
going to be checked into oblivion,
Yep.
but then once we say this is a book, it's good, and then they start making hundreds of them, then we got to wait for those to be shipped, and then
Right.
all I'm saying is my spring break starts March 1st.
okay.
Mine
So
is at the end of March, so yeah, if you want us to come out, we'll come
And
out.
again, I said this passingly as a joke to Jameson, kinda, because I figured he'd go no.
This goes
But
parallel with that divorce conversation
that
we were having.
yes, if you need a couch to sleep on, the commute would be killer to your job. But I'd like to have everybody who like worked on the book to visit. I know it's kind of shitty because it's like, yeah, you could visit and help us package this stuff, but it's also there'd be free food and
Jason
a bunch of
makes
stuff.
really good pizza.
Yeah, and we can
No,
go
I
do
want
stuff.
to package. That's like my favorite
Yeah.
thing. Sorting, like, oh my god, like clerical work.
I love doing
No,
things
it's-
with my hands
yeah,
too.
I get it. I
You
get
guys
it.
are nerds.
I told Jason when we were worried about whether or not we should go to a special facility to pack and ship our things. I was like, Jason, I'll do it. I don't mind doing it. I'll just put on a fucking podcast and jam, and you can just be working in the other room, and it's fine.
Well,
And he was like, that's mean. I want to do it too. And it's like, but you don't like doing it. You don't understand.
yeah, but it's still got to be done. I don't want you to be a worker elf in the next room while, But, I mean, it would be like 1.5 days of that, and then 1.5 days of just let's just party. Let's just
Fucking
celebrate
wasted.
like we go out, we have a nice meal, we drink our heads off,
Get
like
fucking
and
wasted.
everybody's invited. I just wanted to extend that to everybody.
They get drunk in public and embarrass ourselves. It'll be great.
Or
Yeah?
not that,
Why not?
because I'm the one who's got to pick you up.
We've all been drunk with each other before. We all know what kind of drunks we are. It's
Yeah.
Val and Bree are the ones who embarrass themselves.
Wow! I thought my dance moves were
No,
so
Bree
good.
embarrasses herself so more. How dare you? Like,
Oh, really? Who?
I feel so
can't talk
attacked
about
right
our
now.
secret
Okay, wait.
conversations.
Okay, hold on.
oh, okay.
So attacked.
Bree embarrasses herself much more in a short time. Valerie, alcohol stays in your system for a much longer stretch, and you're a sad drunk. So,
my
No, I was
also-
only a sad drunk because I was a sad person.
Also, I don't think sitting on the floor is embarrassing. By the way,
I-
I think it's fine.
I do when you're
They
surrounded
do
by.
it in Japan all the
We
time.
weren't in Japan, we were in Atlanta.
And I'm saying this because Jason, myself, and Jameson all become mother hens. When other people are drunk, we want to take care of everyone else around us. That's
My
That's-
point being, Alex already said he wanted to do it. I'm just saying, I think it would be really cool.
I think Ian and Jamie already agreed to. So.
That victory lap
Yeah.
of like, let's, yeah.
Anyway, okay, we're very off topic.
No, I love you both, Val and Bree. I love you guys being drunk too.
Still hurtful,
So-
but whatever.
I'm sorry.
What's the deadline to like send everything over to Jasper for layout? Like getting all the artists commissions and getting everything written. So we want to send it to the copier by February.
Well,
So-
yeah.
End of
So this is the backwards kind of walking I want to do. Thank you. Is
Yeah.
to if let's say we draw a line in the sand, just to throw a date out, February 28th. Hit send on the email to the printer, February 28th, or the Dropbox, or whatever it is.
Okay.
Working backwards from there, this is kind of what I sussed out. This is what would be necessary in order to make that happen with that date. And I'm gonna kind of break it down, and if it sounds reasonable, if it sounds like it's not reasonable, or if it sounds like we could even condense it further, I just want to get everybody's take on it, because this is what would be necessary to send the file on February 28th.
Files.
Files.
Module as well.
The in the entire month of February would need to be dedicated to finalizing the copy edits and giving Jasper as much time to complete layouts as possible. That means all of the writing, all of the art, everything else except for editing and proofreading and layouts the entire month of February. I
Now,
think
the
that
good news is the more we give to Jasper, the faster the layout will be, because he
Yeah.
has it, templated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He did mention a few times that the early part is the hard part because he's problem solving. After that, it's just drag and drop.
Yeah.
So I think that is reasonable. I think that we will need that time for copy edits both before and after layouts, because I assume we're all going to want to read the book to make sure there's no edits after layout as well.
Right.
So we want to allow time for that.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I just looked it up. The proper term for after layout is proofing. That's why
Proofing.
we are not proofreaders. We are copy editors.
We shall be proofreader. We'll all be
Yeah.
proofreaders.
We'll all be
And
Sorry.
I feel like by the time we get obviously we'll have a PDF first,
Mhm.
and then we'll find stuff in there because we're looking at it in a different way than we have been in those Word docs. So we'll find little things. And then by the time we're looking at the first physical version of the book, that's just going to be to make sure the binding looks right, all that that's what we want. That's it.
Right.
'Cause-
There's no misprints and stuff like that. 'cause
Right.
Right.
The
It's
copy should be fine by then.
Yes, because that's
Yeah. So, that being said, in order for that to happen for the month of February, then here's what needs to happen in the month of January. Well, okay, so December, the first draft of the main book, ideally completely written. We're in pretty good shape for that, I think, right? We're talking about at least a first pass on every piece of lore in the core book, right?
Are we talking stats and everything too?
Ideally, yeah, ideally.
Okay.
In order to keep us on track for the date we picked. That would mean in January, the module writing would need to be 100% finished. The art, obviously, 100% finished. We're almost there. My pass on all of the editing, including the main book and the modules, all finished. So I have my goal personally is to finish the main book editing, both my passes plus more if needed, fiction, all that, by January 15th. That's my own personal goal to hit that. And then hopefully the layout for Jasper, and we would need to check this against him, at least regions and characters done in the month of January to give him the rest of February for the other 3 publications. Or the other 2, because the PDF for the art book doesn't have to be on that deadline. He can work on that in March. And we don't have to worry about that too much.
I was also talking to Jason, who's getting a little worried about the layout, that if necessary, I can try to work on the layout for the module book because it should be simpler than the setting book. Also, because I heard you and your voice went up a little higher when you asked stats and everything.
Well, I'm trying to suss out in my head what that looks like.
Right. I am also going to be doing the primary writing on the module book, which means if it takes you a little bit longer to do the setting book, the module book should still be getting done in January. So...
Well, there's a lot of... Okay, so if we team up, and you're doing principal writing and I'm doing principal mechanics for all that, we should be able to tag team that pretty efficiently.
Yeah, I think if we have all the information we need, I think 2 weeks should be enough for the module.
Okay.
So I just... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I just got a message
right.
from Ashley.
Oh, yeah. I typed out, like, everything we just talked about. So that way we have a
Thank
little
you.
bit of outline going forward. And we don't have to
a
rewatch this.
recorder.
taking minutes.
I meant engineer. I write down when the professor says hello in my notes. I'm one of those people. But yeah, so that way we have a little bit of an outline moving forward and see if Jasper thinks that's feasible for him.
Yeah. That is, so if you guys are allowing yourselves 2 weeks to do the modules beginning to end, including mechanics and stat blocks and everything like that, is that also including revision time, or is that folding over into February?
Well, I'm figuring as we do, if we line this up, we could do a nice little snake eating itself. Like, we get one done, we pass that off to the person to make sure that that's what they envisioned.
Yes.
Then we get it back, then we can start doing edits while we're working round the clock on the other ones. And I feel like...
And the cool thing is, one of them's already essentially done.
There's a nice rough first
Yeah.
pass, but again, we got to make sure that it fits the other...
Exactly.
The
So,
way,
like,
yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be, obviously it's a project, it's a second book, but it's something we've done before, and it's much more beginning, middle, end, instead of breaking it into sections
and chapters.
Yeah. I think it's much more point A to point B, and I think it'll be a lot
Yeah.
faster. As far as the rest of December, then, here's my goal. The rest of December is slaying stats first, then doing write-ups for weapons and everything like that. And I think by the 31st, all that should be done, and there should be a first draft of everything, and I should be going back through and working on edits as I get them.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2 more weeks, and I think based on the pace you guys have been working at, it seemed reasonable to me. Obviously, it's a lot. The next 8 weeks are going to be a lot. The next 16 weeks are going to be a lot. But January, really, at least for me personally, is going to be the time when I can buckle down, because the art is going to finish at that point, just at the pace we're working. It will be done. And when the art is done, it's going to be like in Dragon Ball Z taking the weights off after training. I'm going to be able to go. I'll probably have all my edits done in 10 days or less, both rounds. Like, that's absolutely my goal, is to like lock myself in a room and get it 100% done. I'm just not able to focus on it. I mean, holidays are horseshit, but the rest but the art is still my main focus, because that's the hardest part to coordinate.
Right.
Once that's done, it's just me working directly with you guys. I'm not worried about that at all. I can take care of that real fast. So and after that, once the art is done, and once my 2 rounds of edits, 2+ rounds of edits are done, I'm available for whatever else.
Right.
And we'll use
for the month of February.
That's-
Yeah. So for the month of February, if there's a place where we're getting stuck, or if there's and basically I'm available to grease the wheels for the month of February.
Right.
Nice.
So Jameson, what would your estimate be then on all, like, at the pace that the artists are working? When do you think all the pieces will be done? Like, if you could give like a rough estimate.
What I would like, and what I think is reasonable, I would say that, including the module art, 3rd week of January.
Oh, that's not terrible. Still
No,
gives us a lot of time to do edits.
Yeah, I mean, there is a potential long tail on the module art, depending on how those descriptions trickle in and who we end up getting to do them, and all that type of thing. That's the big unknown right now. But the rest of the stuff that needs doing, I can see, not including the module art, I think will be done in 3 or 4 weeks.
I only
That's
think
awesome.
that there's a couple of bits of art where there's a potential for us to get hung up, because there's some personal attachment to it, but I don't think there should be anything in there that's going to take too terribly long. And the fact that we're switching all this over to Discord, because I don't know if you remember me telling you last time we sat down, it was spread out between Kickstarter, email, Discord, Patreon. It was everywhere. So I was talking to, I keeping track of where all that stuff was. It was slowing everything down, and I'd wait to get responses. So adding everybody to this Discord server, which I think we have everybody but 1 or 2 people now. I just looked at it a little bit too.
Oh, there might be.
Yep, there were more people hopping on. Cool. So yeah, I think having people, it's like we could just tag them, drop a story in there. It's like, hey, check this out. We'll have separate channels for each module, and it'll really streamline the process.
Fast.
Yeah, and that way I can obviously share the art with you guys, but share the art directly with them too. And get quicker feedback that way, That, and a lot of temp work has already been done for the module stuff. Rough outlines are all in, and people know what they want. None of that. We're way past the stage where people are going, I don't know. Like, people know what they want.
Except for Brian.
Well, I got to talk to Brian. Brian's a hard man to get a hold of, but I can get in a call with Brian and we'll suss it out.
Susan, Valerie, how does that timeline strike you guys?
So,
one thing before you take off, I think if I know I'm gonna, February 21st is when we should shoot to have a final PDF, because there are going to be problems with it. There are going to be problems with it when we give it to them. They're like, yeah, this layout doesn't quite work, and we might have to exchange it once or twice, because that happened with your book. And we got 2 books.
Well, yeah, but I'm not a professional graphic designer.
That's fair. You know what?
that's true.
I withdraw my comment.
Also, you were working with Kraken Print, who probably just lied to you at least once during that process.
I would like to try.
To
Okay.
make it your fault that they haven't printed your book yet.
I think that 1 week, that it's like 21st, and that fuck them. The 21st is a good thing to shoot for, and then we have that buffer period of a week where, you know what I mean? Like, we're not pushed up against
I
the
agree.
wall.
I think if the absolute have to have is the 28th, and then we have the 21st as the the ideal endpoint,
Yes.
right? Like this is the A plus, and this is the D minus, but we got it in. You know what I mean?
Wow, that is not a lot of wiggle room in that 1 week. Our grade dropped a lot.
Yeah, well, you turn shit in late. That's what happens.
Okay, I'm gonna shut up now. Valerie.
Okay. So here is, and I can't see long term, and I'll get into that for a second, but at the pace that I feel like, because I've been back for like 4 days, I think maybe 5, and I've almost cleared 2 regions. Now there's still some back and forth, but I've at least gone through them, and they're in the process of being worked on again. I think it's semi-reasonable for me to say that we could get all of the regions done by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
That's awesome.
Susan, what do you think? Like, I don't know if that's like good or bad, but I feel like if we keep like really going, and again, I don't have anything going on, so I use most of my time going through this stuff. I think it can get done before the end of the year. So that's regions done.
Here's my goal regions. I only have 2 sections left for me. I want to get that done by this weekend, if not Tuesday. For my final edits done. And then it's all Val. So I think it's reasonable. End of year, all regions done.
And again, remember that each one of those regions, and there are 13, has 6, 7, 8, 9 files in each one of them.
They're the most complicated part of the book.
Yeah,
They're the biggest part of the
so
book.
once you get past that, like, characters are also going to be a bit of a slog for copy editing, I'm sure, but not as much as regions, I don't think, by a long shot.
I was thinking the hardest thing, and I haven't looked them, so I don't really know. You guys are probably know more. I think the next harder things would be races and classes, especially the Endurant.
Okay, that.
The
yes.
Endurant, yes. But all the other classes, all the base classes, we're not writing that much. It's basically just like how you become a member of that class. Because we can't publish any of the stats or any of the, because Witches of the Coast will sue us. So we're not going to do that.
But Endurance are ours. So.
All the races are under a page long.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of the history stuff is in the towns and cities for them.
If you have questions about, like you asked, how long do Eladrin live, High Elves?
Yeah.
I wrote all that out already. If you go to the races section, each race has its own little write-up, and then it's like, here's when they reach maturity, here's when they're getting up there, and they can live to this plus.
But yeah, no race is more than a page long. I don't think.
No.
That's just because the actual, basically, Therian races are kind of wishy-washy because it depends a lot more on where you grew up than what your race is, as far as like what you need to know.
Races and classes, with the exception of the Endurant, all we're doing is informing people how they're different from the Wizards books, because it's 5e compatible anyway. So all we're doing is just saying, it's like, look, I know it says this in the book.
Right.
Forget the Feywild. Forget all that stuff. Forget, they can't teleport. Like, they're just, so that's basically what we're doing.
Except this,
yes,
basically.
that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're not even putting it like that. It's more like, this is where their magic comes from, and hopefully from that people will understand, like, there's no Feywild, because even saying there's no Feywild, you're kind of crossing into a point where it's like,
I don't think you're allowed to say Feywild, if I remember correctly.
So many things.
There's still some words we might have to change by the end of this. We were talking
I know,
about it.
I saw that. Why?
I don't think. Here's the thing. Like mole, I don't know if we're allowed to use mole. I don't know.
I believe I would have to look back at the.
Exactly. I'm just. There's certain things like Dragonborn. Even they don't use Dragonborn because a little game called Skyrim came out and fucked all that up for them. So,
oh.
Yeah, they use half dragon now.
Something that might be useful then is when we're doing our final copy edits, like doing a final legal walkthrough.
Yeah.
And pulling up all the copyrights from Wizard of the Coast and just cross-referencing them with our PDF. I think that might be worth the time to do.
And
especially if 4 or 5 people are doing it and just looking through it.
Yeah, and especially
hi Jasper.
Hi Jasper. I definitely think that's something for the final PDF too, just because we could correct it in one section and not another section, which Valerie's dealing with right now.
Yeah.
You are doing very, very well, but like it's almost impossible to keep track of every proper fucking noun in this book.
And by the time you're done making a change across the board, we have to change something else, and then you have to go back, and it's Jenga. It's not.
So if we have a PDF that we can just search for the word like tiefling, if we end up having to change tiefling, we can just do it, and it's like it's mentioned 74 times. We're going to change those 74 times right now.
Yeah.
So PDF by end of April, we said, right?
No.
No.
Next Tuesday, I thought.
Next Tuesday.
Get out of here.
Word I'm seeing.
That came from a real place.
Guess
it's
what?
okay.
No, I know.
Like everyone else recognizes
up to date, Jasper.
No, it was. It's like that's very humorous, Jasper. No, that's not.
You need some of this.
I do need some.
I was having some too.
Oh boy.
Got some of that.
It's only Wednesday.
Don't worry. Like I said, I saw Ashley the intern shoot to have first PDF February 21st. That's absolutely doable.
Oh,
Nice.
God, I love you.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna kiss you full in the mouth, Jasper.
That's what that party's
If he
for.
finishes
I'm
the
doing
wine, he'll let you do it.
Cool. So
Alright.
we all feel pretty comfortable with that timeline and the overall project and stuff. Yeah. Comfortable. with it,
Comfortable, yeah.
Terrified, but like comfy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, so-
comfortable, kind of terrified.
The regions, again, like I said, I think end of the year is reasonable, I think, or at least very, very close to it being completely done. Something I'm worried about, but I'm preparing myself for, is when school starts back up again, I'm gonna have to slow down again.
Yeah.
But
Take a
something...
semester off.
I can't. I'm sorry. Something I'm gonna work on this semester is time management, because now being away for the first time, I realized how terrible my time management was, and that's why I didn't get straight A's this semester. So I'm gonna try and be working on that more this semester. So I'm hoping doing that and having more of a schedule will let me not feel as sorry, I can't work on the book, I have to be working on school right now.
Right.
And so it won't be, it'll definitely be slowing down from what it is right now, but I'm hoping it doesn't get to a point where it's at a standstill like it was.
And you said you go back on the 6th.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one thing I wanna not brace you for. I want to comfort you by saying this. We're almost done the densest section in the book, like the whole thing. Like those regions, they thick though, and we're almost done. So,
and they, at least for me, they take a long time because it's a lot of writing down the names and keeping track of the dates and being like, oh, well, let me go back to this other section and see what that one said, and let me make sure that it's the same in all of them.
Right.
Like, it can take me an hour or two to go through a town just because I'm having to go so many times to other things to make sure that everything's lining up. So, like, not even the stats, but, like, even, like, just, like, the descriptions of the monsters and stuff. That kind of thing, I don't have to look anywhere else.
No.
So I'm going to be able to go through them a lot quicker, even if they are longer,
even
you
the
know?
270 characters, we're looking at a lot of them being little blocks of text like that.
Mm-hmm.
Shopkeepers are not getting epic poems written about them.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like,
Except for Yulin.
Except for Yulin, because he's fabulous.
Because he wrote it for himself, and he sings it every time he walks into the doors of his establishment.
It's in metered verse.
And then he flips the little sign to open.
Yes.
And then, so, it's going to be a breeze beyond that. This has been, Regions have been a work in progress for a long time. And thank you so much, by the way, just cross-referencing everything, because there has been a date or so wrong because 2 or 3 different people are writing that.
Yeah.
And it's good to check, like, even things like the timeline. That's going to be fleshed out extensively
Yeah.
by the end, and I wanted to wait before doing a second pass because just the dates we've added to towns and cities can all be added to that timeline, and holy shit, that's going to get big.
Yeah, and I have, for everything that I go through, I write down the date and what happened and where I found it in. So once we get to the timeline
That is
thing, I
amazing.
can
That is amazing.
give you that.
And
with
again,
you.
once
Okay.
we're out of
Thank
towns and cities, that's not so much a thing anymore. It's
No.
Sure.
really not.
Yeah.
Like the races don't have stuff like that in them. I think you're expecting them to. They're actually not.
They're not.
It's
It's-
literally just like, hey, this is how they act, and this is generally how they look, and go
This is how they
look somewhere
smell.
else for
Yeah,
everybody
you know
else.
what?
Yeah.
It's just,
Sulfur.
Conversely, for when it comes to layout, the longer regions type stuff, that's way easier for me to copy and paste in and then just make sure it fits. It's going to be the character stats that
Yeah.
I can't copy and paste all that. I have to I'll have my little grid of layout,
right.
and then I'm going to input all of the strength intelligence.
Well, okay. So we were doing that in a very cumbersome, ugly, clumsy way.
Yeah.
And what we've done now is created several spreadsheets where all of that data should just be there, and that might make it easier on you.
Yeah.
Because it
It's
sure as hell made it
easy-
easier on me.
Yeah, it's easy for it to be there no matter what it is, especially when it comes to numbers and data that need to be put into like a grid. I have to take one by one, and that's fine because I think it actually warrants that much attention to it.
Right.
Because I don't want to I don't want to get all those numbers screwed up or something like that. So it actually warrants that. So it's converse to me. It's actually like the one thing that you kind of repeat over and over for a character block or a character stat.
Yeah.
That's actually the one that's going to be like surgical.
You know
making
what?
it right.
I think we should just triple the length of everything. That's what we should do. We should just write
You know what?
more for all
You know
of
what?
that, but keep the
And the
deadlines.
length.
Yeah.
Now, see, you are like some of my clients.
People really do that, Jason. It's not funny.
I'm so sorry. I didn't.
He
To
just
me, it's
did
an
to
absolute
you-
joke.
But I tell
He just did to you exactly what you did when you entered the call to him. That's fun. I like that we can have fun. I like that.
I'll tell you what I tell them. That's absolutely fine. We can absolutely triple the amount of content that you want to be able to add into it. At this point, it will constitute a change order, which, as you know, is going to mean ramifications on the timeline, budget, and potentially the team. We're happy to put a proposal together for
And
you
they're going,
around
no,
that.
never mind.
I'm happy to put a proposal together. I like
what-
that.
Putting a
That's what
pros-
it's supposed
that's
to
so
look.
threatening. I don't like it.
That's good.
I like that as just good, just back pocket, passive aggressive, fuck you language. Like, like anytime somebody tells me to do something
That
I don't
is
want to do now,
definitely
I'd be like, I'd be
something we
happy to
can
put together a proposal.
Yeah, it's in the scope of work. It's in the contract. It's called change management process. It's very simple for us to do. We'll get it around to you. We'll turn it around in 24 hours. It will certainly constitute a timeline change and cost. No big deal. And then they scurry like rats.
Yeah, they hear
Yeah,
they
so
hear the
go,
word
oh, no,
cost
maybe we don't
and they
need that.
run.
Maybe we don't need that.
Please never say that to me, Jasper. I'll give you whatever you want. Just don't. How's that logo coming, by the way? No, I'm
So for me personally, editing process wise, I mean, obviously we hit the regions first, we're hitting the characters next. My goal after those two sections is to go back and just start at the beginning of the book and go to the end. After what I consider personally to be the two most largest and more complicated chapters, after that, I'm starting at the beginning and going all the way through. I think we might as well just do it at that
And
point.
I think that's basically what Jason and I are doing right now. He had to
Yeah.
pause to do the stats for characters, and that's probably going to be the next week. But in general, we're just moving down. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. And I'm
Um,
pretty much done again with the base writing that I can do for the setting book, and then I'm going to be moving on to the module. So
Too much. Okay.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
Bree, if you need any help writing for modules or editing for modules, let me know. And I can help you out with that.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna have to,
Make
like,
notes.
if you're gonna work on the book, we gotta pay you. Like, let's pay you something.
No.
Man, by the time we're done with this, we're gonna be a well-oiled machine. We're gonna be
Yeah.
like, wow, we're really efficient now, and there's
The
nothing
next-
left to work on.
the next Kickstarter should be you hire us as your book writing team.
Oh my god.
whatever you want, yeah.
Just tell us what
Hey,
content it is.
You
Look,
know,
Kickstarter
honestly-
consultant is a real career now. So
Yeah.
Is it really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a
I
lot
read
of
a book
desperate
by
people
one
out
of
there
those
on
people.
Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Trust me, when our
We were
Kickstarter got
preying on
funded,
hard.
holy shit, we got a lot of emails from people who are wanting a rub for their Kickstarter, or they're like, hey, next time you're doing a Kickstarter, hire us and we'll do publicity. It's like, but we did that with...
We didn't need it.
Yeah, we're good.
That's
Thanks.
We're fine.
Yeah.
So, obviously, there are 5 more continents to do. Don't worry. There's plenty of work. But, next Kickstarter, I feel like we should focus on one place, and it would be a hell of a lot shorter, and I feel like we should budget more for us as a team, and we can actually pay ourselves for the work that we're doing.
What? No.
Yeah, it's
That's
bold.
ridiculous, Jason.
It's
How
a
dare you.
bold maneuver, I think. But yeah, no. Valerie, did you want to go and do all your Valerie things?
Sure.
Okay.
Real
What?
quick, do you need me for like your first 2 Valerie things? Because I really need to use the restroom.
No, I don't think so. I think-
Sweet. All right.
There
do the
are
Valerie
bottles.
things. You don't need me to. No.
Oh my god,
You're
Jason.
gross. You're gross.
Take your mic off.
Yeah, take your mic.
Okay, everybody.
just-
Thank you for coming. Wait, what?
My wife's on her way home, so when she gets in, I'm gonna have to just help her in the door with the kids. But besides that, go ahead.
Okay.
First thing I want to say is thank you guys for being patient with me while I do school and I couldn't work on the book. I felt very bad about it, but I was also like trying not to cry every day. So
You're fine. You're fine.
So when you get to be my age, you cry every day anyway. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I
You've narrowed it down to once a day, Jasper. Like,
that's
I
time
just said
management.
every day. I didn't say once.
I
It's basically every time I go to the bathroom.
all day counts as once a day. So
I feel like it was yesterday when I mentioned it's December 3rd. We need to get a move on, and I look, it's double digits. It's like trust me, we're all crying. It's fine.
It's so funny because this first one, I think I've asked like 3 times, but I'm gonna ask it again. Are we having something in each region about what type of beasts are there?
No.
And I'm asking that because in the Ivory Peaks, it mentions Kental yaks and Ambercombe bears. But they're not in the Northlands travel tables. And I don't know if it's necessarily warranted to do a cross-reference there, but that's the beasts especially are something that if like someone might not know that we have those in the book, and so then in that case a cross-reference would be helpful to have, because like I don't know, I'm talking myself in circles already.
I agree.
I thought about that too, but
Fair point.
for the descriptions, it kind of throws off the description. Like, did you want it in the Ivory Peaks description reference to Abercombe Bear? And
Well, what we could do is one of 2 things. Just offering solutions. Either in the beast write-up itself, we can have where they're normally found, like regions they might appear
I think
in.
that's very important to do.
Okay.
I agree.
And we can also, for the regions themselves, if you want to throw something under the overview, it's like, here are some creatures that might appear. Like, you could do it twice if you want. Like, it's up to you.
I think it's we wouldn't have to mention everything, but I think things like the beasts, the cryptids, the demonic things that we have a section for in the book should be mentioned in the region that they are there.
Okay.
I agree.
I think that's
100%.
it's nice to have all these things, but like that's I don't want Ambercombe bears in Fairbay, let's say. Like, there's a place for these things, and that's where they belong. I agree.
So like maybe like a just a little snippet at the beginning of each region. Like, it doesn't even have to be at the beginning of each like individual spot in the region. Just like right there on the Ivory Peaks, for example. Is the Ivory Peaks a region? No.
No.
The Hazon Mountains.
Northland.
Hazon Mountains. Let's go that one.
Okay.
I knew that one was a region. And it just says these are the animals that are kind of in the area. These are the like, you know, like just an overview Like there's
And it doesn't
already
even
overview,
have to.
but like
It doesn't
you
even
can
have to
add
be in a paragraph. Like I was
Yeah.
thinking, like I think
Like a
it would be
stat
totally
almost.
That's
okay
what I
to be
was
just a
thinking,
little
too.
like side note on like the side
Yeah.
of the page.
Yeah.
You can find these guys here.
Like that little scroll on the side that's in the D&D books.
But
Like,
you
Yeah.
probably don't want to. Like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like here's where the
I
briar
think
trolls
it's-
are. Don't
it's-
go there.
Yeah, it's there's the description of the regions, right? It's like in the Hazel Mountains, this is what you might expect for the environment to be like, whatever.
Mhm.
Then there's a little tiny. I'm thinking of it too. It's like one of the little scrolls or one of the little side things.
Yeah.
It's like playing in the Hazel Mountains. You might come across this kind of thing, this kind of thing, this kind of thing. Of course, the tables flesh that out.
Yeah.
But I think giving a quick snippet and we'll figure out what the consistency should be. But it's kind of like, okay, quick, like quick tip or like
Yeah.
quick running a session.
Mhm.
It's like here's
Mhm.
what if you were going to do something, you would want to
Right.
imagine that these would be the types of things you might encounter.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
that-
it would take no time at all to also add that to beasts in case people skip there. It's like you're looking at
Yeah.
ambercomb bears. It's like typically found in
Yeah.
these regions.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think
It's
I
like-
think that's very, very important when they're looking
know-
at the beast where they're found.
And,
It
and then
could
just
be-
add
I don't
like
want-
go
No,
ahead, Jasper. Oh, I just think it would be cool to have like a little, like if we're doing the scrolls, the trolls or whatever, see page 79 or whatever it's going to be. So that way, if they are running a session in the Hazon Mountains and they want to add trolls, they can just flip.
Oh, absolutely.
And then vice versa, so that way
Valerie's been a
it's
huge
readable.
proponent of that.
Yes, Valerie.
That's going to be a huge thing once the PDF is there for you to look at. That's
Yeah.
going to be a huge thing because right now all of the, whatever, see that person page XXX.
Yeah.
That's going to be a huge endeavor of making sure all those things are right and the table of contents.
Actually,
Might have to get at it.
actually, I'm making your life so wonderful, Jasper. You don't even understand. I have an Excel spreadsheet that has it's separated into regions, and then I guess I'll make more once I start going into other things. Where every single thing that has a cross reference, right? That's listed there. Then there is the first tab is basically like the main one, where it has everything listed in all of the cross references in the section that they are in. So what you got to do for the PDF is go through and basically fill out this first tab, and it automatically updates everything else. So then you can go to the other pages and just it's already there in exactly what order you need. I type that in. Like, it's beautiful. I'm so proud of it. Like, genuinely so proud of it. It's like the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Well done.
Susan's dog is confused, doesn't understand why we're clapping, but
Fantastic. You're a dream. I'm thinking I don't want to. Of course, I do not want to add additional work that wasn't being scoped for this particular book, but I do think it could be interesting to consider if it's a very small amount of quick thinking. It can be done at the end, but maybe for each region, it could be a little sidebar for quick encounter. It's like you want to just get started. Here's what you could do, and it's a bullet list of like 2 of those bears. Like what would you do if you were just in those mountains or if you were just in that region? What are maybe 3 bullet points worth of either beasts or table, basically stuff from the table, but like the quick versions of that. Maybe you already have it. Hello,
You're
yes.
suggesting more tables.
No.
No, it's much simpler than that. In fact, they may come from the tables. What I would say is, it's all no. Don't get me wrong. I'm not asking for more tables. I don't want
No,
more
no,
tables.
ask more. Yes.
No. What I'm suggesting is taking the idea around.
Right.
Let's take the Hazon Mountains, right? Hazon Mountains. Here are maybe there's 3 bullet points for every region.
Right.
A 3 bullet point would be, if you want a quick encounter and you're like sitting down at a table and you're like, fuck, I didn't plan anything for my session, but I want to do something and I know they're in the Hazon Mountains, or it's a one shot. It could be, an encounter of beasts, and here's what you would probably random encounter expect. Here's the bandit version of that, and here's the stumble upon a temple thing, right? And it's like that's the template that we use for each one. It's basically extracted from the tables, but it's the quick encounter version. It's like, you don't have time to read all this? That's fine. Just do this.
Maybe like levels 1 through 5, levels 5 through 10, level 10 through 15.
Maybe honestly, it doesn't even, that's the beauty of it, is that it doesn't require levels, because it's really, it doesn't matter if you're a 20th level or you're a first level, you're probably going to see 3 bears at once if you want. Like,
That's
like,
super easy to do. Yes, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay, quick encounters.
Cliff notes.
It would not be
Yeah.
it's something to consider, and it is a Cliff Notes. It's not about creating new content. It's about taking the top 3 things that are of 3 different types from
I
this
didn't mean
table.
to do that.
I thought you were just really excited about quick encounters. I thought.
Yeah.
But what it
Oh,
does
I-
mean
that's
is that in
we're
any
not-
region, in any region, you can just get going.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
love that. That's fantastic. That's
We
one of those
And-
little.
Jason notes.
Huh?
Instead of Cliff notes, it could be Jason notes.
I
Jotes.
love.
Don't call them jotes.
Don't call them jokes. That's
Yeah.
weird.
That's it.
I love anything that eliminates, as a DM, like you're flipping through the book. It's like, ah, shit, what page? Let's say you're playing Vampire the Masquerade, and let's say you're trying to make sense of the incomprehensible gibberish they put into 400 pages of that block they call a book, and let's say you're flipping back and forth, just trying to figure out, it's like, fuck, how do I feed? Like, you're just trying to. I like anything that kind of gives you a sped up, eliminated version of that, and a longer version you can look at if you have the time. I love that.
It's an encounter and not a setup.
Yeah.
It's not a scenario. It's more like, look, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
You may stumble upon these 3 things at any given moment. You can always drop back to that if you're out of ideas. Boom,
like it.
done. And it gives a cross-reference to Back to Those Beasts, which is where this started from, right? It gives a cross-reference back to something.
All right.
Okay.
I guess something with that too. I don't know if this is something you've thought about at all, Jason and Bree, adding this into the book, or if it would just be a colossal, like, expenditure of like time. But
Oh, that's
like,
not an issue.
starting a campaign, like
That's a thing we
um,
already have. Yeah.
Yep.
we do. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
We actually
There-
that
That's
was a Kickstarter goal that we
Yeah.
hit. Yeah.
So there's like 15 story hooks for just starting a campaign. I'm going to flesh them out and what you start with and what you like, pros and cons for
Yeah.
each one of them. Oh, I'm so excited.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it was that Scion's character creation tables.
Yeah, they look great. Oh, it's good stuff.
I worked really hard.
It's good stuff.
There's a joke about Malchus in there.
Oh, good.
Sorry,
Needed.
Val.
No, it's okay.
All right. So what
So
else
that's
are we
number
adding to the
1.
book?
Oh, in a list of how many? Well, we better get started.
11.
Oh.
Not bad.
Okay,
We're down
number
to
2.
10. Yeah, we're down to 10 already. Let's go. I was only here for half of that. It's fine.
They're not all gonna warrant a big. That's actually not true at all. Okay,
I like
so
that you
this
started
one,
to lie to us.
something that I noticed going through things that isn't consistent that I have to go back and make consistent. In all of the like towns and cities, you know, we have the notable NPCs section. Sometimes it's NPC apostrophe S and sometimes it's NPCS. It's supposed to be NPCS. I've decided that for myself. And I have to go back because that wasn't really something I was paying attention to before. I have to go back and make sure everything is like that. That's where I come to Jasper. If there is anything that you're already working on, that you've already started layout and something has gotten changed, because I'm sure there'll be more things like that, what is the best way to let you know that something has been changed?
That's a good question. I would say, all right, so there are 2 levels of change. There's 2 levels of revision, right? There's, oh, we decided that we're not going to do notable NPCs for this region, right? For some reason, right? That's a huge chunk of something that changes everything that comes after it. If it's a revision around whether there's an apostrophe or whether Kodai is spelled with a K or a C or whatever, that doesn't substantially change anything around the layout itself. It simply changes letters, not on the paragraph level, but on the minute level. If you get to a point where anything changes substantially around, oh, we added a new paragraph, or we cut out a huge section of something, let me know. If you've changed something around apostrophes or the spelling of something, we're simply just going to have you flag it for now, and we'll take care of it once it's in layout.
Okay.
I'm just going to keep churning. If every time there's a new misspelling or every time there's a new apostrophe thing, I'm going to be bogged down never getting the layout done because it's going to be going back and forth. So it's basically those types of things can hit a critical mass in which we go back through and do find and replace.
Okay.
But when it comes to anything that would substantially change whether or not a column, the book, would be 2/3 shorter, that's something I need to know. But otherwise, I don't want to know until later, basically.
Okay. And I'm not expecting anything to be big. It's mostly like, oh, we have to change this word to this word. I doubt by the time it gets to you, we're making huge changes like that.
That's totally fine. And all I would say is just maybe, make a new spreadsheet or even just flag it wherever. If it's flagged or if there's a comment that is made in the Google Docs, that's going to be where things will fall through the cracks. So basically my point is that at some point, whenever you say, this is ready for Jasper, at that point, lock down the Google Doc. If there's anything that changes in there, write it down somewhere else on a checklist.
Okay.
Somewhere. It could be a spreadsheet, it could be anything. The reason for that is if I've copied and pasted something from the Google Doc into layout, and you say, oh, can you go do that again? It's which one? I have to go find it. I want to make sure. It just means that we just may lose things.
Okay,
so I would, what we call it whenever I do it for what we do, it's a feedback tracker, and it's just a spreadsheet, and it's like section by section by section, and we just keep adding rows and columns as needed.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. That's very helpful.
Sweet.
Okay.
No way. Of course, it's not going to be completely that way. Like, well, there'll be things that we find and that we have to copy and paste from the Google Docs. That's fine. But as rigid as it can be, let's make it that way, and it'll help me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that leads me to a question. The Scroll of Beasts and the Quick Encounters, would that be okay to add to the overviews of each region and just let you know and you're aware of it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so remember how I've got my tab in the big sheet?
Yeah, the one that looks way better than the one I made for you.
The only I wasn't trying to outdo you. I'm doing it in a way that I know that my brain works.
Trying.
Yeah, it was literally I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is when it actually is professional and it's not just someone guessing. Like that's
No, I just had to do it in a way that made sense to me, and when I did that, as long as it's in there, I'll know. If it's not in there, I won't see it because I don't cross-reference back and forth between the tabs. Basically, I took your tab and I copied, I duplicated it, and then I was like, hang on, let me make this make sense to me, and then I made it. If that complicates your life, I'm sorry. Tell me what we can.
So I can probably erase mine if you want. If I make changes to yours, would that be okay?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Totes.
All right. Yeah. Because we're still doing things like we keep finding NPCs and stuff, and I have to keep adding them to the list. Yeah. So.
What I would do if you do add anything to that list, keep it in the same style if you can, because the style is there for my brain, and add something to it. Change the color of that row, the entire row, to like whatever, pink or something that makes me know, oh, that's new since I last looked at it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Valerie, number 3.
Okay, number 3.
This one required a sigh?
No, it's because they start to all be the same thing, but like slightly different.
No. It's all important.
Yes.
And it's almost all of it is cross-referencing. I was getting like frustrated last night because I was like, this is so much. So the Gahara.
Yes.
We don't have a cross-reference for it in there. I feel like it feels out of place to put a cross-reference about the Gahara, but I also think it's important, again, back to the Kentalak and Ambercombe Bear, that there is a place in the book that does talk about it. Yeah. And this is the type of thing where someone would see that word Gahara, be like, oh, I don't know what that is. Let me go to the index, and then they would see that there's more things. But I'm trying to avoid an index because I think for the most part it would be redundant and there wouldn't be that much. But this is one thing that's like, no, this is actually would be a perfect instance for an index. So I'm just, I don't know what to do.
What if you did just another little banner that says, like, for more about the Gahara, go to page blank?
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, that as like a side thing instead of adding it to the main.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. Yeah. I think that's the solution.
We can use that for all the cross-referencing things that you're thinking of. Just, like, add a note, like, read more here. And, like, usually for Jasper, I put it in bold. I'm like, for Jasper, because I don't want him to accidentally copy and paste it into the book, because that would be...
Add more details, Adam.
Okay, that might be a good idea, because, like, there's quite a few things where it's like, I feel like a cross-reference would work, like, kind of should be here, but it would ruin the flow, and so I don't want to...
The more cross-references we have in this book, the more times we will fuck that up, and somebody's going to call us out on it later and say, you got that cross-reference wrong, and then we have to do another edition. So the fewer cross-references, the better, but sometimes that is helpful, and we want to be helpful, too.
Yeah.
I will respectfully disagree because my Excel spreadsheet is very good, and
yours good. I'm talking simply about the between the spreadsheet and the layout, getting that right. There's going to be mistakes, and it's not because it won't be because of you. It'll be, or I mean, it's going to be because of what we don't catch collectively in all of those numbers. It's just a lot to carry. Mm-hmm. It won't be because of you, of course.
Because I'm doing a very good job.
Oh, yeah. It'll be the translation of what you're doing, an amazing job at, and then what I,
So Jasper's going to fuck it up, is what.
Yeah.
Is what.
What I'm telling you is that this is going to get me through the layout, right?
Oh, man. I need to get more vodka.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
That means we're going to have a lot of mistakes.
Well, I'm telling you, like, when we have the whole PDF and we're all going through it, I'm gonna be double checking everything, so I'll be cross-referencing that with the spreadsheet.
Yeah. She'll have like 4 Kindles open at once.
Yeah.
I simply mean that is one of those places where things could get messed up, but I have no doubt that we're going to be coming through it, probably hardcore.
Yeah. And here's the thing: anytime we want to be helpful and add a level of complexity, it's like building a sandbox game. The more options you give people, that's how you get a Skyrim that's all glitchy. Like
I actually just realized there's one other thing we could do in regards specifically to the Gahara or things like it. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying see page blank, we could say see chapter blank. Yeah. Like you could say see the beast chapter for the Gahara. And because there aren't that many, it's different than like the characters. I think you need to give a specific page because there are 245 of them.
Yeah, but the Gahara's a cryptid, so
so you could just say see cryptids, and then you can't fuck that up. It's in the cryptids chapter no matter what. We don't have to change it in the layout part because it doesn't have a page number.
Mm-hmm. I would still want to put a page number though, like even if it was see this chapter, I would do the page number of the first page of that chapter.
Okay.
Let me just suggest something. I don't know that I'm right about this. I'm just gonna throw it out there so we can talk about it. I think Val's probably right. However, bear with me. There are 240 characters, right? Or whatever. However many. 1,000 characters, right?
Yes, thereabouts.
The characters themselves are going to be within their own chapter, their own section. They will be alphabetized. They are, for all intents and purposes, the kind of place that you can go to and know exactly how to find who you're looking for. So while we might, on one hand, want to be helpful by saying, go look at this person on that page, it could simply, very easily, at the very beginning of the book, how to use this book, right? It's just whatever, like how to play in Theria, how to use this book. Anytime you see a character that may be referenced as an NPC or whatever, they are always found in the chapter where those people exist. Done. People, unless you are illiterate and shouldn't have this book, know how to find that section and find something alphabetically. So my point is that I'm saying we on one hand, we're being helpful by putting page numbers. That's cool. On the other hand, is that the kind of thing that people absolutely need in the moment? Or do they need to be able to say, oh, right, this is that person who runs that pub. Here's the name of that person. Yeah, it's in the chapter with the people, and I know exactly where to find it because I know my alphabet.
And to be on Jasper's side a little bit too, we have really only 2 months left for editing and layout.
That's a good point.
That's if you were finished writing today.
Yeah, so if we're spending 3 weeks combing through for all the cross references to make sure they're exactly right with each page number, we don't have that time.
So let me think of it this way. We could make that decision later, right? We can absolutely get to the point where it's like, oh shit, we're already way past where we thought we were going to be. Let's dumb it down and just make it be clear. When you see an NPC's name, you can always go check in that section and it's there. If we have plenty of time and we think it won't take much time, we can add the page numbers. Yeah. I know that's killing Val, but it may be...
the large majority of cross-references that I have so far is NPCs.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
the only to be on Val's side just a tiny bit, because I totally get where you're coming from, Jasper.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge proponent of just like saying the chapter name. There are certain characters or groups of characters, for instance, Larg and Hoog, or the Epplemere family, or even the Countess, where that actually would get confusing because the Countess's name is Vinthrath, but she goes by the Countess, so ABC doesn't help that person. The same for Larg and Hoog being in the same grouping. If you're looking for Hoog, you're going to go look in the H's, and then he's in the L's, and they're not that far apart, but they're far apart enough that it could get confusing.
That's fair. Totally fair.
Well, okay.
It has to be consistent or it won't work.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is one of those things, let's prep to do it that way. If we get to the point in the editing phase where that's just not feasible, or it's
fail.
We know that that's a box that we could dump overboard if we need to.
I don't think anybody would be upset about that. I think they would simply be helped if there was, Val, page 13. Okay, cool, thank you. But if it just said Val, and I knew to go look for Val, I don't think there's much difference. But the more we can help, the better. You're right. We can dump it over.
Idea.
Not quite. It's...
Not adding more pages, no.
Oh, okay. No. I got the beginnings of an idea. It's not there yet. Ignore me. Val, number 4. Let's break your heart some more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So I saw on the Discord that there was some talk about like combining drugs and herbs and plants and all of that.
Yes.
Is that a thing that's happening?
With that one, definitely, specifically because if I'm covering, well, okay, drugs I think should be its own thing.
Yeah, we were going to do plants and herbs.
Yeah, I think plants, herbs, and something else that was just basically plants and herbs again. While you could definitely do different write-ups for that, I thought it would just be easier to do one. I just thought it made more sense.
Okay. I don't know how long that's going to end up being now that we're combining some things. And I don't know the table of contents. I don't know if we're going to go into that much detail on the table of contents. But I was thinking it might, for something like that, it might be helpful to make like a mini table of contents at the beginning of that chapter, saying here's everything that's in here. Because my thinking was, oh, there's something that someone thought of in the show or that's being referenced somewhere, but we're not making a cross-reference for it. Is it even in the book? And then they have to like go through and look at every page and see, oh, I guess it's not in the book.
And I think that's where an index helps.
Exactly.
Right.
So that was just an idea that if something like that where it's like lots of mini things, it might be helpful to make a table of contents just in that section. So someone can take a look at one page. Is the thing I'm thinking of in here? No, it's not. Okay, I don't have to spend time to look at it.
No, okay. I like that. That makes sense. I think it's right up there with the bullet points in the beginning of regions where it's like, here's some shit, go. Like here's what's in here. Go. Sorry.
What I could also do is, so for the table of contents, if you look at it, there's the main point, and then there's smaller points. So, like, for example, the divide, and then divided the story is a separate point.
Right.
So for Life on Alara, that's the big point. That's the big chapter heading. Then you have calendar, currency, diseases, drugs, drug effect tables, food and drink, blah, blah, blah. I could do another one the same way I have with races, where it says races, dwarves, and then there's a subsection for half-dwarves. Because dwarves and half-dwarves are going to be basically on the same page. So I could do that for plants and herbs, which I haven't even combined on the table of contents yet because we haven't really gotten there. But, and then do a subsection where it's like, here's the list of them. Same for diseases, honestly. I could list out the diseases on the, as a subset of the table of contents.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even really need page numbers. It would just be a list of the things that are in that chapter.
I don't know. Like, if I think about textbook table of contents, they're usually many, many pages long.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if, like, going into that much detail on the table of contents is necessary.
Right.
I don't know. Is this a thing where we're talking about all of the people, all the NPCs?
Oh, no, I copy and pasted that off a long time ago for the table of contents. It just says characters now.
Right. So especially for something like the drugs and herbs where maybe some things only have like a few sentences about it, I don't know if it's warranted to have a whole part in the main table of contents about it.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah.
But I just still think it's important for there to be somewhere something that breaks down. Here's everything here, quick view. This is what's in this section.
Right. Okay.
So I have a couple ideas about that, actually. First of all, I don't know if the little scroll thing about like the beasts and whatever within the region, if we could maybe apply that to herbs and plants as well. I think that might be interesting. I don't know how much extra work that would be or if it's even worth it. And then secondly, I haven't looked at the table of contents at all or anything, so this might already be in there, but maybe we could do like little chat boxes like, oh, this was in Arc 3, Episode 11, or like a little section of things you might have heard on the show that you want to try, and then you can cross-reference between that to kind of, I guess that's a lot of formatting and a lot of work, but I think that might help with some of the cross-referencing issues that Val's having with, oh, I don't want people to think that it's not there when it is there. You know what I mean? I don't know if either of those are feasible ideas, but...
Honestly, I'm going to suggest that a lot of the table of contents versus index versus that kind of thing is going to come out as we do layout. We're going to end up seeing, it'll make more sense how we should approach it once you actually see everything put together. The reason for it is that if you've got a textbook of just content, just like text, it's going to behoove us to be able to have a table of contents that's really, really detailed. On the other hand, if we've got really clear headers and a very consistent sense of what's in those sections, and you kind of get it as you're going through, the table of contents does not need to be that hardcore. It's like, good, I know where the region is. It starts on page 83. Boom, I got it. Boom, flip, I got it. You know, like, it only takes a second to get where you need to go. Most people don't, like, do the table of contents like a flow chart to get to a very particular moment.
Right.
They
like
get
if
to
they're
a
like,
second.
oh, I need to get a half dwarf. That's a race.
Yeah, races on 83. Great. Done. Races, flip, got it.
Yeah.
So that's usually the use case for something like that. That doesn't mean that's how everybody uses it, but it's just usually how, get it to the level of detail that you need to get to the right place, to get to the right room, and then you can scan around and find what you need in the room. But I think the other side of that coin is, I do think that we could have an index that's like an index, where it's like every reference of everything has a page number. That reference index is, everybody's. It's you fall in love with it because it's got everything you need. Any NPC, any spell, any beast, any reference to a herb or a plant. That's where you find it. You can look up in an index. You can find herbs, and then it'll have a list of all of the herbs. So, I'm just saying, I think the index is going to be like more of the junk drawer. The table of contents should be helpful, but not overwhelming.
So, do you think we should do an index then?
I think an index would be fantastic for something like this because there's so many things that are not obvious for people. There are things that are unique to Theria, and because of that being the case, an index could be very useful. That doesn't mean we have to have it. There's no reason that we must do it. It would be helpful, potentially. But if you look at all of these books, and I've looked at a lot of references for all of these types of books, many don't have an index, and it doesn't matter. So I honestly think that's a call we can make later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are people landing right now? Like, what's the overall consensus around indexes and versus table?
I'd love to have an index. I think it was just.
I think we ruled it out when you weren't here one day because we thought it was going to be too much effort for.
It is a lot of effort, but it can be
lot.
very valuable. So we have to find that balance.
Yeah.
Once again, it's the kind of thing that if we think it's valuable and we're like, let's do it, let's push through and make it happen, then great. If we're like, we're already way past deadlines that we thought we were going to hit, this isn't going to work. If we don't do it, then
Right.
you know what, forget the end. That's totally fine. It's not going to be a deal breaker for anybody, but it can be valuable.
Now, wouldn't the index be harder to do than cross-references?
It's its own exercise for sure. But the reason cross-references always make me not nervous. I mean, we can do it. It's not that it can't be done. They just make me get tense about it because cross-references aren't consistent. They're on some pages. They're not on some pages. Some things are cross-referenced. Not everything is cross-referenced. An index, it's fucking indexed. If it's a word, it's in the fucking book. So you can do that. It is a lot of work, and I'm not advocating that we have to have one. We certainly can do one. But I don't think that a table of contents being more detailed is helpful. I think a table of contents should get you where you need to go into the room of the house, but it doesn't need to tell you what drawer in the dresser in that room. That's not what a table of contents should be.
Yeah.
If we, Ashley, just start with Aardvark and then get all the way to the character Zenora Fennis, and I think we'll be good. Like, we'll just
totally.
Yeah. Every single word in the book.
No worries, Jasper.
Yep.
Being loaded on me now.
For the most part, I have the information that would help with an index. I try and make sure that I note down every time a proper noun is written down and where I found it.
Okay.
For the most part, a lot of cities, I've realized I haven't been doing that. So I just started doing that like yesterday, where I was like, oh, I should like try and start writing down where certain cities are referenced to each other. But names, for the most part, special, like any proper nouns, for the most part, I'm writing down where every time they're written.
Okay, and that's going to be amazingly helpful. And I feel like this is another one of those things. And I feel like it's the third time I've given this answer where it's like, okay, let's focus on this stuff and let's see how much time we have at the end to implement.
That's the answer.
And it sucks because it's like I want an index in a book like this. You almost need it, right? Because that's a daunting amount of information to hand people who aren't familiar with the show, don't know what's going on, and they're just looking for one thing, right? It's the vampire thing all over again. Sometimes I'm just looking for, it's like, blood, see pages, and it just goes, it's like, oh, you could have made this a little better. So,
yeah, it may be too much work. Let's figure it out later. I would love to do it if we have the energy, if we feel like it's good. Let's try it. If we don't, then hey,
Yeah.
do our best. I'll be honest too. There are indexes. I'm looking at an example right now where the index it's not comprehensive, but it's
serviceable.
good.
Yeah.
Like it's 1, 2, 3. It's a 3-page index for a book that is ultimately 136 pages, right? So,
and that's a thing where
it's small. What's that?
To do the index correctly, we need a nearly finished version of the PDF first.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
like,
index is the last thing we ever do.
Like we need to finish. Yeah, and then we can
happen.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. So basically, you're telling me I have to stop worrying.
Yes.
Well, not worrying. I think let's stop worrying, because I love when you worry. But keep cataloging the cross references the way you have, and let's pick a time to make a decision on how to use it.
Yeah.
At what point, Jasper, in your process would it be necessary to make this decision?
It's going to be a collective decision at the very end. Basically, once we get the first PDF, we'll look at it. We'll know whether we've got a lot of work ahead of us, or whether it's actually pretty good and we're pretty set. This won't be a huge effort, and we can decide whether or not we want to put the rest of that time into something like the index, where we sort of like all hands on deck, making something happen, or by that I mean Val. But
I would love to do it. It would be so fun for me going through being like, okay, I found this one. Let me tell you the page number. Like, it would be so fun to do.
You're weird.
It's going to be whether we can. It's going to be whether we can or can't. And the answer to the question is, the timeline really comes down to once the very first version of, I think this is pretty close.
Yeah.
Here's the PDF. Let's all start coming through.
Yeah.
If we feel like we're in really good shape, or if we've got a lot to do, that's when we have to make that decision. And that's like February.
What I'm hearing. Sorry, Jameson, go ahead.
Well, I'm just trying to get us to a point, because I don't want to go in circles too much about it right now if it's too early to make the decision. I think that it is a really good idea to continue to collect the information with the intention of doing the most complex thing.
Yeah.
But I think that it's too early to decide to do that thing. So I wonder if we either the meeting of, like, let's say the last week of January.
Yeah.
Let's make a decision then.
Okay.
I think by then we'll have enough of an idea. I think the whole book will be written by then. It'll be mostly edited by then, or at least for a few passes. Mm-hmm. And I think that we'll have enough information at that point to make a decision on where we're at, how much is left to do, and we'll have enough data at that point to make a decision, and have enough time to implement it depending on what we decide to do. I think right now the way we're going, information gathering wise, is fine, but I don't want to make a decision and be worried about that now if it's, like Jasper said, something that you really can't know about until closer to the end of the design process.
And I feel like there's going to be 3 or 4 projects at the end where it would be nice to have them in the book. And we're going to have to pick. Right. We're going to have to. It's going to be a Sophie's choice. And if it's index, we go index. If it's cross-referencing, we go cross-referencing.
Hey, listen, and if nothing else, if we add a page to the DNR website that's like, hey, here's an index.
Yeah.
That's
if
true.
you really need to know.
That's actually a really
not only that, but also for PDF version of the later PDF versions of this, we can certainly add things in there later too. So we can always have that out there as something for
Coast
free.
book has here's the real Ranger, cover up your old Ranger. Like, they had that. So if we have our index come out a little late, we're still ahead.
Even if we have like a base index with some simple cross-referencing for the big picture stuff, and then later on, if we're like, hey, do you want a posthumous, like, insanely detailed index for that one thing that was brought up that one time? Check the website, because we have that with hot links to stuff.
Right.
And it would drive traffic to the website.
Yeah, exactly.
Which would generate business.
So I'm in favor of, if time allows, having as detailed an index as possible. I am hesitant at this point to commit to it, though. So let's continue with the intention of doing it, but let's hold off on the
high value for readers and listeners, but also high effort on getting this thing out and doing it right. So we gotta figure that.
Valerie just saw something. Hold on.
No, I just looked at my phone. I got a notification. President Trump has been impeached by House Democrats.
Hey, where's my wine?
I think it still has to go through the Senate.
But still,
It definitely does.
He now has the badge of impeached, which
Oh.
has only been this.
Where's my
Wow.
vodka? Oh,
Oh, good.
You ever just sit back and think, holy shit, this is the time I'm living in?
Yeah, a
Mm.
lot.
Yeah, for the last
I've been
3
doing that
years. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've done that
All
more than
right,
once.
and we've
Okay,
already
sorry,
upset
I-
people in this meeting who are
Related.
watching this. Sorry.
Sorry, we have a vested interest in not treason.
No, but I think either way, it's a big deal. Whether you're for it or
very
against
true.
it. This is historical.
Historical.
Yeah.
No matter what.
You probably didn't
I
see me
have
clap to it,
9%
though.
left on my battery.
Yes.
Valerie, number 5. Let's go.
Okay. This is more honestly for Jameson, but like for Jason and Bree as well. Maps.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to look at maps and tell you things that may or may not be wrong with them, or is that a nightmare and you don't want me to touch it because then you have to like deal with more revisions and stuff? I'm fine either way.
We have all the maps now.
Mm-hmm.
If I send you a final version of all the maps, I would like to get all of your notes. But also, there's going to be some things that I'm not worried about, because like there have been times where we've gone with the Temple of Civilization versus the Temple of the God of Civilization. As far as I'm concerned, they're interchangeable. I don't care which one's on the map personally. I don't even care if it's consistent, because I think in practice both of those terms are interchangeable. If there's a gross misspelling, though, I do want to know about it. So I would take all of your notes and then selectively implement them depending on what they are, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Because there are some maps that I've sent back to Daniel like 6 times for revision, and I won't do it unless it's a huge deal at this point for those maps. If if you found something on the world map, absolutely. He's only sent us the final version of that once, so.
If it's spelled Balara, let's change it. Let's
Winter Haven.
Exactly. Like that one, that was a huge deal. That was the 4th time I sent him Winter Haven, but we still missed that somehow. So So depending on the weight of the correction, will be how eager I am to address it. But give me all your corrections, and we'll go from there. Definitely.
Okay. I would like to do that.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet, yeah.
Definitely do that.
Can I too? Because if the things that are in the final folder, it doesn't look like he took any of our last round of revisions for the Alara map.
Are you organizing them by date? Because I know there's like probably 6 versions of Alara in there.
Yeah, I think this is the most final one, and it doesn't look like Bree and I both gave a big list, and I'm still like Brugal spelt wrong. Razor Mountains, like stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you guys, if you can, I know.
My thing is I can't tell which maps are final and which ones aren't, because there's so many of all of them. I'm like, I don't know which one you want me to look at.
Let me make a note to give you the most recent versions I have.
Yeah, because I may just be looking at the wrong one too, but I was like, this doesn't look like any of our revisions were used.
Yeah, let me make sure that everybody's looking at the same version of the map and that it is the most current version. And then I would like to get one last Val Brain plus Susan Brain together, every correction you can. And then based on that, I will submit those to Daniel for the absolute final.
Okay.
And
is it coming?
I just laid down on the bed. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just laid down in a very sexy way.
Oh,
Beautiful.
that's good. That's a 2-page spread right there.
You look like a dad in every family photo. Anyway.
Like every Sears portrait studio I've ever seen. It's also very possible he just sent the wrong version of the map. There's 19 of them now.
That's also true. Yeah, but that's why I want to make sure we have the final comprehensive, like, you know, file name Alara, final for sure this time version 10. You know?
We mean it. Stamp, no erases. Valerie, number 6.
Okay. This is for Jason.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
So, where was this? I don't even know where. Let me look and make sure, just so if you ask, I know where that is from.
I've never been hungrier in my life, by the way.
Yeah, no, I'm starving.
Okay.
Did we ever?
Okay.
We're doing fun for yourself night tonight, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I can make cheesesteaks.
Eat the dog. Eat it.
He's all bones. He's all bones. You can't eat this.
Sinew.
So.
Yes.
Buttons.
The Bleak 10.
Yes.
Seemed to start in 1246, right? Like as soon as Carter took over.
Basically,
like that's sort of the start of the Bleak 10.
Yeah.
In Camp Icebreaker, it mentions that it was in 1248 that people started migrating there because Overdale, still called Overdale 2 years later, started campaigning against non-humans.
Well, yeah, they did everything in-house, then spread out. Like, it took a long time to institute. So what it started as is rules getting more restrictive, and it's seemingly attacking, like, a lot of dwarves and tieflings, not a lot of humans being affected by these new laws. And then they got more restrictive and more restrictive, and there was no impeachment. So we had Carter just doing whatever he wanted, and then by 2 years, everyone's like, okay, I see the writing on the wall, I'm going to leave. And, you know, it got worse and worse, and yeah.
Do you have a date for when the name actually changed to Overwatch?
Yeah, I don't know if I put it in the timeline, but there's absolutely a date, yes.
Okay. Because that was just something I wanted to double check, that it makes sense that it took 2 years, and that seems to all make sense.
We're dealing. So there was an uprising to try and take him out of power, because by that point it's like, okay, this is pretty screwed up. So it happened just before the siege of Winterhaven, and you basically have people pushing back. That's why when Group 1 went through and they were trying to get a coalition of people, like, yeah, we kind of tried that and it didn't work, because they were kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Right, and Siege of Winterhaven happened in 1258. So that was, 12 years after Carter went into power.
Right. So this was before that they changed. It was 4 or 5 years before. I got to look up the exact date. But I can give it to you if it's not in the timeline now.
Okay.
Hi, naked baby.
But that also might be something that we want to put in Overdale. Like, that this is the date that it happened, not just in the timeline.
That makes sense, too. We could do that. So let me add it to the timeline, and then I'll go to Overdale and add it there, too.
Because I wrote...
Put it in the Jasper's list of minor changes that we will give him later.
Because I also saw... I don't know the date... Well, I guess I know the year. But when Overwatch actually fell, if we want to give an actual date, there are places in Camp Icebreaker, Overdale, and White Raven's Cave that would probably be good places to add that specific date to.
That sounds perfect.
That sounds great.
I swear I'm listening. I'm also a baby, though.
Val, do you have any more notes for me? Because I'm probably going to have to go.
Yeah, let me...
We're only 2 hours into this meeting, Jameson. I'm just starting to doubt your dedication.
9 p.m. and my baby is still awake.
I know. I'm very sorry, Lindsay.
I'll tell you. Jameson, before you leave, I'll tell you that I walked out to go get my power cable, and my sister-in-law is in town, and she is also French, potentially more French than my wife, and said, really French. I keep hearing in the back room, it sounds like you're talking to Obama. And I'm like, what? What's going on? And I realized, it's you. It's your voice.
Wow. I've never heard that. That's a new one. I like that one. That's good.
I definitely hear it now.
Yeah, now
that
that
you
you
mention
say
it.
it. That's
Damn, I wish I
totally-
was any good at impressions. I would do one.
Well, apparently you're really good at Obama. You just didn't know it.
Without even knowing it. See, because I answer phones for a living, so I would be doing it every time I picked up the phone. All right. Hi.
All right. Thank you, Jameson.
Hey,
Yep.
Jameson.
Thank you, guys. Fill me in on the rest of it on Discord
do.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Yeah.
baby.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, now you don't want to wave. Okay, fine.
Slacker.
Whatever.
Okay.
It's just because you were waving this time, Bree.
Yeah.
It's the only
I was
reason.
waving the whole
You came.
time.
You came on desperate. It's just.
All right.
Speaking of sister-in-laws in town, I'm not going to be able to stick around that much longer either. So, is there anything that definitely, I'm not on my way out like Jameson, but is there anything that relates specifically to the layout?
Not for me.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I know we saw some of that. Nicole, did you want to show any of that off tonight?
No.
Okay.
One more thing. We were gonna do this earlier, and then the call happened. Recipes. We really need you to pick the 4 recipes you want drawn. You don't need to write out the recipes yet or anything like that. You just need to pick the pretty pictures that you want.
Okay, cool. I'll do it. I was thinking about that yesterday. I'll tackle it.
Okay.
Sweet.
Thank you.
That's the only Jasper thing that I have to talk about, and I totally forgot about it until I went back to check and see if I had anything to tell you about.
Jesus, that's a note
Ashley,
from this meeting.
Can you add that
pages.
to Discord as a note for me to do?
Yes, I
Yeah,
can
we
do
can
that.
do
I
that.
can tag you in it. Tag
You know,
you.
I said Ashley the intern.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Wow.
I know, I'm very special now. I don't even get paid. That's how special I am.
I barely get paid.
Well, we'll work on it. We'll work
That's
on
That's
my
the
it.
joke.
bed.
No, it was a joke. It was a joke, I
I'm
promise.
kidding.
Don't worry, Ashley. It's for exposure.
Ah, don't you dare say that,
Portfolio.
because
Not
that's
canceled. I
here's
didn't
the thing.
even want to be canceled today. And now
that's a
I'm
lie.
canceled.
We barely get exposure for this. We're still trying to figure that out. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Valerie,
hmm
6 or 7? 7?
7.
6.
I don't know.
7.
Next.
Ask.
Okay, so you said you can get me that date.
I can get you that date.
Okay, and then so Jasper, that would be adding maybe a sentence or even just a few words. That you don't have to worry about that.
Fine.
Okay.
No, it's substantial. Again, just think about it like a column of text.
Paragraphs.
If you were to remove a big paragraph, that would change everything in that. If you add a sentence or so, we can still manage that kind of thing.
Okay. Perfect.
Nope.
Do we have a date or even a year that the White Ravens were formed?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
there's an
that's
entire...
not anywhere.
In the regions, at least.
I was about to say, I wrote a whole thing about the Ravens. That's
Yeah,
definitely
but
in
there's,
there.
there's not a date.
Okay.
I
Then
think
we'll
that
add
would
that.
be something that's important to have.
Yeah, because we go
I believe
through...
that's in the guilds and groups section that
Probably,
you wrote the exact
yes.
date in, which you haven't gotten to yet. But
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's important though to actually in White Ravens, because I don't remember. White Ravens Cave doesn't have a history section in it, does it?
no, White Raven's Cave is just a section of writing, like the overviews or general stuff like that.
Right.
The sections that include history are only for things like towns and cities
Mhm.
that need longer write-ups.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. I think there was some document I was looking at where it was like, oh, it'd be good to have.
And there definitely is mentions of the history in there, though.
Yeah,
it's
I
just
think
not
probably in
called history.
Winter Raven. I don't know.
But there's definitely a write-up for it, and it goes over the entire, Trace being fed up with what was happening in Overdale, him leaving, founding the Ravens, Liara joining, Bree getting in there. There's a lot.
So that's in guilds and groups.
Might be.
Which is under characters.
Okay.
If I recall correctly, because that's what Jameson's been editing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm jumping back right now because I just looked at the timeline. 1250 AEC is when Overdale becomes Overwatch.
I know I wrote it somewhere.
1250.
Sweet. Check
Um,
that shit off.
Okay, that works. Yeah, because in 1248 it's still Overdale.
Yes.
Nice. Good job,
Okay.
Pass Brianna, because I wrote that.
there is a timeline. I should keep that open.
Yeah, I told
Give you the link real fast.
Sure.
So you don't have to search for it. I already have it open. So.
Valerie, I feel like you don't listen to me when I speak sometimes.
No, I knew that they're like, what's a timeline being
Right.
done, but I didn't know it was like
It was available.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to add to it whenever I can. So a lot of your questions might be answered there, but
Right.
if they're not, I just haven't added it.
The same thing happened to me with Jameson a bunch, where Jameson would be in the history section of every town and city, like, if we mention this in the elf race, then we probably shouldn't mention it here. And every single time I'd be like, well, that's been written. You can go check yourself, and it's not in there. Like, because I think he had the same intent, the same idea as you did with the races, where like, oh, the whole race section will be under races, but that didn't make any sense because races are everywhere.
I'm so glad. I just have to make it look pretty.
Okay, number 8.
Or 9, maybe 10.
I doubt it.
I think it's 9.
Okay.
Well, at least that makes sense. Will the Kadara be in the book? It's mentioned in the Ivory Peaks, but it's not on the table of contents.
I'm thinking we still have to go over and make sure that the Beast section and anything that we want to add to those sections of the book are what we want. And every time I think I have everything, I don't have everything.
So what you're saying is we're going to add the Kadara to the Beast
I
section.
don't hate. No, I'm saying we're going to talk about it. It's a discussion.
I think Valerie's point is if it's in the book and it's mentioned by name, it should be in the Beast section.
Well, I'm saying things could always be subtracted.
That's
so
true.
either we have to remove it from the Ivory Peaks or we have to add it to the Beast.
Yes.
So there needs to be an answer on that, and I will give it a star.
Thank you.
Star means check this later.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm writing check again later. Check back next time.
Not Christmas though.
Yes, on Christmas.
On Christmas Day, you hit me up, and I will have done it, or that's my Christmas. I'll have to do it then.
Oh, that's so sad.
It's very sad.
No, Jason.
Super duper fucking sad. We still need to decorate our tree. It's just bare in the
Oh
living
my
room.
It's got lights on it. It's got lights on it.
It's the 18th.
I am getting a plane ticket. I'll be there tomorrow. I have to work.
We don't even know where our ornaments are.
I got a session tomorrow and a thing Friday and Saturday.
No, you don't have anything Saturday anymore. You have 2 things on Sunday.
Oh. Okay.
See, but you have a cat, so that's like the ultimate excuse. You just say, oh, the cat destroys the tree.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. He does eat it.
He does eat it. And
He
then
does
throw
eat
up.
it.
Yep, that is the thing he does.
You know who has a real hard time digesting plastic tree? It's weird.
Valerie, next thing.
Yeah.
Okay. The next 2 are cross-references stuff, which I think, for the most part, I'm not going to worry about.
Don't worry about that.
The only one that I do want to mention, because I think it would be, like, it's like, oh no, I think we should add a cross-reference there. The Divide travel tables. Oh, the whole Divide travel tables gave me a headache. I literally wrote on it, note to everyone reading this, it's on hold until I get to talk about it during a meeting.
Oh no.
What did you do?
I don't know.
No, it's
Divide?
just, yeah, the Divide travel tables.
But
There was a few things that I was like, oh, I don't know if we should add cross-references for this or not. The thing is, it mentions Ravagers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the other things are cities, and I'm like, oh, if someone wants to go back and like find something about the cities, they can just go back. Like that's not like I don't know where to find that type of thing. But the Ravagers, if someone has not read the Brugal encampment part, they will have no clue what Ravagers are, and they won't know where to start to find it, especially if we're not doing it in an index. I feel like that specifically, we should put a cross-reference there.
What if we just wrote the Ravagers from Brugal? Like from the Brugal encampment.
That also can fix it.
Here we go.
And is the layout, the travel tables, gonna be at the end of layout, Jasper? Or end of that section?
It's for each of the regions has the travel tables at the end of that region.
Yes.
So Brugal's before it.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's okay, and I put something in the chat. There's many different ways to do it, but you can put QV Brugal encampment, for example, without having to put a page number. So the Ravagers, and it could say QV is the Latin, like EG or whatever for like example. It's like, go check out the in this document, go look at this other section. In other words, there's ways to cross-reference without having to be specific. So look up QV as a thing. It's something that's used. There may be other ways to do it. Or you can even just say C, Brugal encampment, and it means look for more details there.
Sure.
Without there having to be a page number.
Right.
Okay.
So I think maybe
It's like soft cross-reference.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's just
There are
another one
ways
to
we
make a
can do
note
it.
of and figure out when we do cross-referencing stuff or indexing stuff or QVing stuff. Like, there's all the options in the world when we get to that point, and you're gonna be amazing because you're gonna have a whole list of all the things we need to go back and fix when we make that decision, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Easy though, because it's there's going to be a little placeholder for it already, and so it's like basically anytime you see the letters XXX, it's going to be, oh, that's where a page number goes, and so we'll just go straight down the list, and we'll just fill it all out.
I know this is sandpaper on your skin right now, but just take a breath. Let's focus on this part of the road right in front of us, not looking down that way. We're going to look right down here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
For Val, sure. Not for me. For me, that's easy.
Yeah, no, for me it makes me want to cry.
I know. Don't do that.
You're doing great, sweetie.
And then in cities, if it mentions a god, do you want to cross-reference for the gods? I'm like gonna start.
Okay, that one I don't think we need because that's a chapter.
Yeah.
Like the pantheon, the gods, that's a whole section.
That one, I feel like if you're looking up, it's like, hey, I'd like to know about that's a god. Where would I find? I think that's on them.
Yeah.
And that was my argument for NPCs.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And again, like the only thing is things like the Countess or Largenhoog and stuff like that.
Agreed.
Yeah, and so it sounds like we're alphabetizing the NPCs by first name.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to do, yes.
Yeah.
There are
it's not ideal,
like
but that's the way it
family.
has to be done.
Yeah. And that's again, with the cross-referencing thing, like, for beasts, I really think that saying go to the beast chapter is perfect. For characters, because it's probably going to be over 100 pages of characters, that's where I would be like, maybe we should have page numbers for them.
I don't know if it's 100 pages, because let's say there's 200 characters. How many characters are we putting on each page?
That's true.
It's completely it depends on the write-up.
Some people are more than a page. Some people, like, sometimes you can fit 6 to a page. It really depends on the character. Like, Merrick is a full page. But
because the guy who wrote Merrick, Jesus.
Yulin is 6 pages because he's so special.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a werewolf and I speak to demons, and that's like fucking page and a half. Like, just,
why don't I just make everything okay again for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna put in the contract that Clara gets laid.
Don't worry, the listeners will cue you in. There's a deep, passionate feeling from the listenership right now.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh.
Some of them really hate
that
passion,
episode
though.
was great though. Just out of context, that episode was amazing.
We're gonna get you a nice like a Poke Mobile for Dragon Con this year, so that if people want to throw things at you, we're gonna protect you in that way.
Today I had a very, very, very interesting idea of where Merrick needs to go on stuff.
Ooh, that sounds terrifying. Cool.
The way I thought you were going with that sentence is that someone approached you at work and started.
People at work.
I was like,
They're like,
oh my
what?
God.
You do what? You're on a what?
Yeah.
See, I thought you meant like a listener came to his work. And
They found him
you son of a
in
bitch.
New York.
No, I just had some interesting ideas that made me think, oh shit, I never thought about that. Cool. Now I don't know who to talk to about it. Because I don't want to meta.
Probably him.
But I need to talk to you about it.
Yeah, probably that one.
Val!
I think that's it.
Yay!
Sweet. Thank you, Val.
Thank you, Val. I love you.
Great job.
You're doing great. Listen,
It's just
listen.
so hard.
I know. Look, you are made up of muscle tissue and nerves, and I know that. But we're gonna get through this, and it's gonna be great. Seriously, we're gonna focus on the things that we can control right now, and those other things are gonna fall into place the closer we get to the finish. Yeah. I swear.
Yeah.
True, they will. And this is, and I'll also validate that with, I'm gonna validate that, just like Clara.
You're fired.
But this is the kind of stuff. I don't do books for my work, but I do the equivalent for when it comes to websites and applications and all sorts of things like that. It's exactly this kind of thing that eventually you do have to push those things to the end, and then those things shake out at the end. It doesn't feel neat, but it is the organic way for these things to come about, and the answers will become more clear later. And it is normal. It should be that way, or we're going to make decisions that we're going to regret later.
That makes sense.
It's also just awesome that you're keeping track of all of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, so next level. So,
Again,
like,
even,
you should be proud of yourself.
We can't do the intense index. Like, we have the ability to do it after the fact, which I think is baller as hell.
Yeah.
And again, if
I
you
think we should do that no matter what. To be honest,
No,
now
I
that that's
agree.
an option,
Yeah.
like that's
totally
really good.
If you want the index, you just get Val's phone number.
No, we're done giving Val's
where
phone
can I
number
find
away to
this?
listeners.
Traditionally, that has not worked out.
It doesn't.
No,
let's not do
that's
Great
true.
track record.
No, and that's why there's a rule that Cass is not allowed
Yes.
to give out phone numbers.
Anyway.
Okay. Well, it's been 2.5 hours. Is there anything else? We knew this was going to be a big meeting. We now have some solid deadlines. Thank you very much for jotting all that down, Ashley. December, January are going to be crunch time O-Rama. And then February's going to be the nice final kick in the balls that we all need to finish this project. And is there anything else anybody wants to get anything off their chest? Or there's a concern? Anything that we should be working on in the next week or two?
I'm very concerned that my dog's about to pee on my bed because it's been 4 hours. But no,
Pippin's got some things he wants to say.
mostly growls.
All right.
No,
thank you guys so much. And yeah, man, we'll all get to work through Christmas, and we'll meet up again in 2 weeks.
We fucking got this, guys. Thank you all so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.